the 10 Ks and 7 scoreless innings weren't enough, how about Carlos Rodon hitting the fadeaway jump throw? Domination on the mound plus dazzling defense. Go ahead and take a bow, Carlos. That means Aaron Judge and the Bombers will get a swing at a sweep tonight. The winning streak is at 4. The series winning streak is at 7. And the first half of this week in L.A. wraps up this evening. It's the New York Yankees taking on the Los Angeles Angels on a Wednesday night at Angel Stadium in Anaheim. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the FanDuel Yankees pregame. Ryan Rucco alongside Jack Curry. So happy to be with you for the final game of this 3-game set. Jack, Yankees going for a sweep. They also have won 4 straight games. The last time they lost, it was Clark Schmidt who was on the mound as we get to your Hyundai opening comment.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt is a talented, smart, and demanding pitcher, Ryan. After his last start, he was an angry pitcher. He said that he didn't do his job against the Colorado Rockies. About 6 times he said that he was ticked off. And he was ticked off because he didn't get through 5 innings in that game. Once again, location and walks were an issue. And I envision that he is going to be the man looking in the mirror tonight and saying, I am not going to slow this team down. This team has won 15 of its last 19. A sweep is looming. If he can slow down the Angels, I think the Yankees are going to see the best of Clark Schmidt tonight.
All right, time to get out to Anaheim now to Meredith Marakovits with the Ford Clubhouse Report. And Meredith, as we just heard Jack talk about Clark Schmidt looking to bounce back and looking to continue what's been a great stretch from the Yankees and specifically from Yankees pitching.
Ryan, I was actually in the clubhouse in Colorado when Clark Schmidt spoke after the game. Yes, he gave the Yankees a chance to win that one, just 3 runs over 4 2/3, but he was not pleased with his inability to go deep into the game. It clearly bothered him, and he said he felt like he totally had to abandon his 2-seamer. The elevation, he felt like, made it do some things that he just could not control that pitch, so that was out of his arsenal. He tried to adjust from there. He did strike out 8 batters in that outing, matching a career high, but he felt like he left a little in the tank and there was more there. And if you look at his previous outings, Clark Schmidt has been very good this year. The Yankees come to expect about 6 innings, 2 runs or less from Clark Schmidt when he is on the mound. Now, Schmidt is not going to be throwing to Austin Wells today. Instead, it is going to be J.C. Escara. They're paired together for the 3rd time this season. Aaron Boone telling me that with the off day tomorrow, he just wanted to try to give Wells a little bit of an extended time off to get himself right, trying to keep him healthy throughout the entire season. He will be available off the bench. As far as Escara is concerned, Aaron Boone had nothing but praise for his backup catcher.
He's an engaging personality. I think the one thing we've seen is just how good of a catcher he's become over the last, I think it started last year. He had a really good year behind the plate. I think really grew and developed as a defensive catcher. We've seen that firsthand now this year from spring training on through the start of the season. And then, ultimately one of his calling cards is his ability to hit. He's had a couple really good at-bat days the last couple times out, I feel like, and in line with very much what he's capable of. So he's a guy we have a ton of confidence in when he's back there. He is, excited to be here every day. He loves the game. He loves all the preparation that goes into it. He loves all the responsibility that we put on our catchers, and it's a demanding thing, not just between the lines but behind the scenes as well, and he leans into all of that.
I believe that my number one priority as a backup catcher when I'm in there is to work well with the pitchers, call a great game, read the hitter swings, and after that, then I worry about the hitting, but my catching is my first priority, and I'm glad I'm doing a great job.
And guys, I loved it when I spoke to Escara earlier today. I said, what changes when it comes to your preparation when you get here and see your name is in that starting lineup? And he just looked at me and said, nothing changes. I prepare the same way, whether I'm starting or I'm coming off the bench. I just want to make sure that I am prepared for any scenario. So we know Escara will be behind the plate. The outfield from left to right is going to be Dominguez, Grisham, and Bellinger. Aaron Judge will DH. Ben Rice is the odd man out there. Goldschmidt is in there at first. DJ LeMahieu is your second baseman, and Oswald Peraza will play third. Speaking of third, that brings us to the Morgan & Morgan injury report. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is still slated to begin his rehab assignment tomorrow with the Somerset Patriots, and Aaron Boone said that he's probably going to play a little bit of third base. Now, last year he played mostly third base when he came over from the Marlins. He had never played the position at a professional level before, but Jazz was willing to do anything the Yankees needed to make sure he was in the lineup. Any way they felt that he could help, he was willing to adjust, and he did a nice job there. Aaron Boone said that is going to be a consideration when he comes back. Perhaps use Jazz at third base and use DJ LeMahieu at second base like we've seen now. Earlier, I asked Aaron Boone if Jazz is as willing to move to third base this time around.
He's been awesome. You know, he came in last week and was just like, where you want me this week? You know, as he puts it, he just wants to win. He wants a ring. You know, that's his focus. And same we saw last year, you know, where he came over, where he was playing, you know, the outfield and second. And then we threw him unbeknownst how it would be, and he took to it right away. So he's been a really good teammate in that regard, and appreciative of him, you know, being willing to do whatever it takes for the team.
And we know Jazz is so ready to come back. He didn't even want to go on a rehab assignment at all. The Yankees want to make sure that he is right, though, before he comes back. You could see him back in the Bronx as early as next week. We will keep it with injuries, guys, and move to pitching. Fernando Cruz was here at the Big A throwing his first bullpen session since landing on the injured list. He threw 20 pitches, and he said he felt great. When I said everything feel good physically, he looked at me, smiled, and said, it's amazing. All went as planned. He's expected to throw a live session on Saturday. He's eligible to come off that injured list on June 3rd and expects to be back there with the team in the bullpen when that date comes around. Now, obviously, he's not in play for tonight, but Aaron Boone probably has to get a little creative with how he's going to piece it together in the back end. You look at Weaver, you look at Leiter, you look at Williams, and you look at Loizagal. They have all pitched 2 out of the last 3 days, so you wonder who Aaron Boone is going to have to stay away from tonight. Tim Hill, Ian Hamilton, both fully rested, so you think that they'll likely be options. Hedrick fully rested as well, so there are guys available back there, but a little length from Clark Schmidt would certainly help Aaron Boone as he tries to navigate the back end of this one. And speaking of starting pitching, hey, what a play out of Carlos Rodon yesterday. I loved what Anthony Volpe said after the game. He said he's essentially, take a look at it right here, the left-handed Derek Jeter with the jump throw right there. DJ LeMahieu said he couldn't believe he got to that ball. He couldn't believe he made the play, but was happy he did so. Now, Rodon told me he might be feeling that one a little bit today, but when I checked in with him, he said he is all good. He is fine. No ill effects from making that jump throw there down the third base line. But, Ryan, I know you've watched a lot of Derek Jeter in your day. What do you think? Left-handed Derek Jeter?
And you know what? I do think Carlos Rodon did the captain proud. I think he could feel very comfortable with that comp, Meredith. Terrific stuff from you as always, and we will hear from you throughout the evening and then again, of course, on the post-game show. Time to take a look at the Toyota Yankees lineup, which will not feature Rodon or Derek Jeter tonight, but it will feature this captain, Aaron Judge, who, yeah, I mean, we know he leads the world in all categories, and you know what? He dials it up to another level when it comes to facing left-handed pitching this year, hitting well over 400 against lefties with an OPS just under 1,700. Take a look now at the Angels lineup, their Toyota lineup. And we highlight Taylor Ward, who over his last 13 games really been picking it up, hitting 340 with an OPS over 1,200 in that stretch. Now, Clark Schmidt will be looking for a bounce-back outing tonight. Coming up on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, we'll break down the pitching matchup between Schmidt and LA lefty Yusei Kikuchi. That's next here on Yes in the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is presented by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
It's time for the pregame odds segment presented by FanDuel. The Bombers have loved LA so far, and they'll try for a sweep tonight. For a same-game parlay, how about DJ LeMahieu to tally at least 2 total bases, Anthony Volpe to drive in a run, and Clark Schmidt to strike out 6 or more? That parlay comes in at plus 809. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
Back on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, taking a look at tonight's starters. Clark Schmidt going for the Yanks. Yusei Kikuchi for the Angels, the 1-4 record, but a 3.17 ERA. Has also pitched pretty well against the Yankees in his career. Jack, you talked about Schmidt and the way he reacted after that last start. Was very upset with himself in Colorado. So the question is, how does he bounce back here tonight against the Angels?
The thing is, Ryan, he was upset, yet he still had swing and miss stuff that allowed him to strike out 8 batters. It was the walks and the long at-bats that cost him. He threw almost 100 pitches to get those 14 outs. I think he bounces back by being more consistent, by going for the kill, by not letting 0-2, 1-2 become 3-2, and by also doing what he did in the first 2 innings, carrying that for the entire outing. First 2 innings of this year, Schmidt's ERA under 1.5. After that, the ERA goes above 6.5.
Something I like, too, about, you give up 3 runs in 4 2/3. Obviously not great, but that's not the worst start in the world. 8 strikeouts and 2 walks. But to have that level of standard for yourself, like Clark Schmidt does, it's like the opposite of Ian Kennedy back in the day. There's something about that I think a fan really is going to connect with.
Well, here's one thing that I think we have to remind ourselves of. Colorado Rockies don't have a lot of wins this year. There are not a lot of pitchers who have an L next to their name when they pitched against the Colorado Rockies. Schmidt had to wear that, and I think it bothered him. I think the Yankees thought they would go into Colorado, take care of 3. They ended up getting 2 of 3. They're on a tremendous roll. I think, as I said earlier, Schmidt will do a nice job against this lineup today.
All right, now for the Angels, it'll be Yusei Kikuchi, somebody the Yankees are obviously very familiar with throughout the years. Let's take a look at his arsenal. StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
You look at what Kikuchi features, Ryan, and he is a 4-pitch pitcher. It's 4-seam slider, change, curve, sinker. He'll throw a sweeper, but he barely throws it. Actually doesn't throw the sinker that much either. And he is someone who I think if you're the Yankee hitters, you want to have a smart, aggressive approach against him because he leads Major League Baseball in walk percentage. You want to go up there and you want to swing his strikes, but you want to make sure you don't do him any favors. He will walk hitters.
All right, well, the Yankees #1 in the majors this year in OPS against lefties. What will they do with Kikuchi? All season long here on Yes, we want to invite you viewers to show us the different ways you support the Bronx Bombers. Use the QR code on screen with the hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride and post pictures to social media that reflect your love for the Yankees. We might spotlight you in a future game. Pinstripe Pride is brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. Do not go anywhere because up next, we're flagging down Cabbie. Oswaldo Cabrera catches up with Jack in his first interview since his injury. We'll hear what Cabrera has to say, so stick around.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com.
The Gotham Sports app is your home for streaming live Yankees games on Yes and so much more. And it's free with an eligible TV provider subscription. Download the Gotham Sports app now or visit gothamsports.com to get streaming. Let's go back now to May 12th. Top of the 9th inning in Seattle. Oswaldo Cabrera hustles home to score on a sacrifice fly, but is injured in the process. Cabrera's teammates were obviously very concerned. Head athletic trainer Tim Lentich comforted him while they waited for an ambulance to ultimately take Cabrera to the hospital. Now, day in and day out, no one seemed happier to be at a ballpark than Cabrera. He has since undergone ankle surgery, and in his first interview since that day in Seattle, he joined Jack Curry's News and Views podcast.
Oswaldo, I don't want to create any distress for you, but Can you describe what happened on the play? Fly ball to right field.
Fly ball to right field. Yeah. So obviously in my mind, I want to score. I want to score for my cat. You know, that's an RBI for my cat. And I got my head down. And when I see the catcher close to me, I wasn't close to the home plate. So I can't slide from there, because if I slide, I'm not going to get to the home plate. So I tried to skip the catcher. And I don't know, obviously that happened quick, but I tried to stop. And I think if I maybe keep sliding and then come back, that was a better idea. But I tried to stop because we are athletes, and I think we can do it. I can do that play all the time, and that doesn't going to happen. Sadly, that happened in that moment, but I think it was because I tried to skip the catcher and then stop and come back to touch the play.
You were still cognizant and still aware enough, despite all the pain, that you still wanted to make sure that you scored that run. And what does that say about you as an athlete, as a competitor?
I appreciate that you bring that back too. Obviously, I got, like I always say, I had in that moment too many things in my mind. But I didn't remember if I scored or not. Everything happened quickly, and the cat was there all the time with me too. And I asked him, did I score? Like, because I want this happen for a reason, you know, like this wrong score at least for you. And he was like, yeah.
We can catch that entire interview Thursday on the Gotham Sports app or on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Jack, first of all, you could just, Oswaldo Cabrera always has this just affable, magnetic personality. We've experienced that when he's been mic'd up for us during spring training. How about the timeline? Let's start there. You know, what does Oswaldo have to say about the possibility of still coming back this season?
He said doctors have told him he's looking at a recovery period of 4 to 6 months, and then he got wistful, Ryan, because I think if you do the math, Aaron Boone has already said unlikely that Cabrera will play again in 2025, but he's an athlete. He's a competitor, so he wants to take his time. He wants to make sure that he gets that ankle right, gets that leg right, but he didn't want to say 2025 is off the board. But I know in his mind he was thinking about the calendar and what is forthcoming. Said he knows he's got a grueling process ahead of him. In fact, he started his rehab today at Yankee Stadium. And to your point, in typical Oswaldo fashion, he was a few minutes late for our Zoom interview, immediately apologized, and then, of course, thanked me for wanting to talk to him.
Of course. How about that rehab? You know, what can he do right now, Jack? Obviously, with, I'm sure, his lower, legs obviously not being something he can do much on at all.
Great question, because he said he needs to make sure that he works on his upper body. He said, this is something I can do. I can try and stay fit in the upper body, but in the lower half of his body, it's going to be some time where the ankle simply has to heal. He said, I looked down at it today. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to see, because obviously that's an injured area of his body that is still trying to heal. But, Ryan, he is so uplifting, as you mentioned, when he talked about the support that he received. He must have used the word beautiful half a dozen times to describe how much support he's received from the Yankee organization, his teammates, his agent, his fiance, his family, and, of course, Yankee fans.
And some of his teammates actually went and visited him in the hospital, right?
Volpe and Judge came to the hospital. He talked about that or posted about that on social media. And this is what Oswaldo thought about. He said when the guys came into the hospital room, first of all, he thanked them for coming. And then he said, did you have anything to eat? He wanted to know if after the game they were able to have a meal in the clubhouse. And Volpe and Judge said, no, we came right to you. And Oswaldo started shaking his head and said, those are my teammates. Those are the guys that have my back, so I will always have their back.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Obviously a beloved guy, and for good reason. Can't wait to listen to the entire interview, and certainly all of our best wishes to Oswaldo on a speedy and full recovery. One last break on the Yankees FanDuel pregame still to come. We'll get Jack's key to the game for the series finale in Anaheim. Stick around on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Discover which Cadillac is right for you and elevate every journey. Visit your tri-state Cadillac dealer. The Yankees pregame show to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com.
Back one more time on the pregame time for Jack's Kia key to the game.
Ryan, I'm going back to Kikuchi. His last 4 starts, by the way, the ERA is around 1.5. It's the right-handed batters who need to do the damage against Kikuchi. Left-handed batters don't have an extra base hit against that guy this year. So I'm particularly looking at Judge and Goldschmidt, who have mashed against lefties.
Yeah, Goldschmidt, .533 against lefties this season. You'll hear from Jack and I throughout the evening, and then, of course, again on the postgame. But now, let's get you out to Anaheim. Michael Kay, Jeff Nelson, and Meredith Marakovitz.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
There's a look at Huntington Beach. It's the surfing capital of the world. 88% of those people on the beach right now are headed to Anaheim. Why? Because it is time for baseball. As the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the LA Angels in the final game of a 3-game set from Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Jeff Nelson, I'm Michael Kay. Yankees going for the sweep. They've taken the first 2 games of this series, so let's take a look at the Home Depot getting it done pitching matchup. The left-hander, Yusei Kikuchi, gets start for the Angels. Good ERA, but he hasn't been able to win that many games. Clark Schmidt with a 4.58, trying to bounce back from what he thought was a subpar performance in Colorado.
Well, he didn't have his knuckle curve or his cutter because in Colorado it's not going to break sharp there as it is in other ballparks. It's probably going to be a little bit better here in Anaheim. The pitches per inning were up. That's not normal, especially after his previous 3 starts where he went 6 quality innings. You see there the cutter up, the knuckleball up. 4 2/3, 97 pitches. That's something he's going to have to not do here in Anaheim tonight.
Oh, so despite that rough outing, the last 8 games of Yankee rotation has been unbelievable. 1.58 ERA. Only the Rays over that time have a lower ERA. They average 5.71 innings per start. You see the walks and the strikeouts. Opponents at 189 against them. Only 2 home runs allowed. Great work by the Yankees starting 5. Well, the man who's going to be behind the plate catching Schmidt is J.C. Escara. Last time he started, he had 3 hits. Meredith Marakovitz will talk to the 30-year-old rookie next when we get back right here on Yes.
Welcome back to the Big A, where the Yankees have already secured their 7th consecutive series win. Finale with the Angels coming your way in just a few minutes. Hey, everyone, I'm Meredith Marakovitz alongside tonight's starting catcher, J.C. Escara. J.C., when you see your name in the lineup, just how does your preparation change?
Yeah, so on the contrary, it doesn't change. I try to do, the same routine every single day, no matter if I'm in the lineup or not, just to keep that mental focus of, that I could be in there at any given moment. So, I train, I get ready, like if I'm playing that day, and, if I'm not starting, I wait for a pinch hit opportunity or, be close to the guys to give my input on what I'm seeing from the dugout and, help out, my teammates.
How have you settled in at the plate? How are you feeling there right now?
Good. Everyone knows it's my first year. Each game that I do get under my belt, I feel more comfortable. In the big stage. So, I'm glad that, the numbers are starting to show up and, we just got to keep it going.
3rd time you're behind the plate for Clark this season. What's the biggest key in helping him navigate through this lineup?
Just getting him in the zone. I think, his arsenal is incredible. The way he uses his cutter, his curveball, his sweeper, great pitches. So, if we get him in the zone early, trust his pitches, he's going to have a great game.
Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. When we get back, Michael Kay will be joined by Jeff Nelson. First pitch coming your way after the break.
Well, back here at Angel Stadium for the final game of this 3-game set. Crowd still filing in. The Angels have taken the field. Kikuchi taking his warm-ups. And we're taking a look at the Yankees starting lineup. Paul Goldschmidt at first leads off. Trent Grisham in center. Aaron Judge, the DH, will hit 3rd. middle third of the order, it's Bellinger, Volpe, and Dominguez. At the bottom third at second base, it's DJ LeMahieu. J.C. Escar behind the plate. Oswald Peraza at third. Clark Schmidt gets the start for the Yankees. He's 0-1 lifetime against the Angels.
There you see the numbers for Yusei Kikuchi. His 12th start, real good ERA. He was a big addition to the Astros last year at the trade deadline towards that playoff run. Also good addition here with the Angels. Well, let's check out the Nissan Pitchers scouting report. Fastball slider combo. He does have a changeup and a curveball, but the fastball and the sliders are main pitches. Home and road home. He's outstanding. 1-2-3 here at the Big A. 4.30 on the road, and he'll walk you 30 walks in 59 2/3. So be patient.
He's ready. Goldschmidt's ready. Let's do it. Here in Anaheim, first pitch is up and in, and we are underway. Ben May is the home plate umpire. Roberto Ortiz at first, Austin Jones at second, and the veteran crew chief, Bill Miller, is over third. Well, we've told you the stats. Goldschmidt against left-handed pitching, just extraordinary. 24 for 45, a .533 batting average. .625 on base percentage. Driven deep to left field. Fair ball, it's gone. Hooks foul. Take a look at the Angels defense, brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. Ward in left, Taylor in center, Jorge Soler is in right. Infield, Moncada, Neto, Rengifo, and Shonowell. That's third to first. Darno behind the plate. Logan O'Hoppe is the DH. The 2-1. 3-1. The Yankees have won 4 straight games. They've won 15 of their last 19. And during that 19-game stretch, they've averaged 6 runs per game. Yesterday's win assured that they have won 7 straight series. 3-2. Tomorrow will be an off day for the Yankees, and then they start a 3-game set in Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, against the world champion Dodgers.
His slider's almost a cutter. He doesn't have the big break. It's more about 2, 3, 4 inches across the zone. About 89, 90 miles an hour.
And the payoff. Driven out to right field. That's going to dunk in for a base hit. Soler cuts it off. Going for 2 is Goldschmidt. He'll make it with a leadoff double.
The numbers against lefties just continue to rise. This is a cutter or slider on the outside part of the half that he just dunked into right field. Thinking 2 all the way. Watch him out of the box. He doesn't slow down at all, rounding first. He's saying, I'm going 2. Leadoff double by Goldschmidt. See, everything a 2-strike approach doesn't have that big leg kick. Just picks up that front heel, puts it right back down again.
Runner at second now. Here's Trent Grisham. 0-1. Grisham 1 for 8 so far in this series. Lineup roulette gets Ben Rice today, so he'll sit out against the lefty. Oh, 2 on Grisham. Grisham 5 hits in his last 39 at-bats. That's over his last 12 games. And his overall average at 250 now. Just underway here at Angel Stadium. Still 0-2. All right, Jeff, it's time for the keys to the game, brought to you by your local Kia dealers.
Well, exploit those defensive miscues from the Angels. They've done a nice job in these last 2 games to capitalize on their mistakes. Aggressive on the bases. That's what they've done all all on this road trip, first to third, whether it's Goldschmidt, Judge, Bellinger, they've done a nice job on the base pass. Finish it off. You have a chance to go 5-1 on these first 6 games going in to face the Dodgers on Friday. A good block right there by Darno, keeping that ball in front of him.
Yankees come into action today with a 7-game lead in the American League East. And it's the first time they've had a 7-game or more lead before June. Since you might remember this team, Jeff, the 1998 Yankees, they were 9.5 games ahead.
Just a little bit. What do you think? Best team ever?
Best team I've ever seen. I can't say ever. I haven't seen every team, but.
Well, I mean, if you go back to the Reds and also the A's back in
right, but I mean, we can't include the 1927 Yankees or whatever. It's the best team that I've ever seen. I've heard about. I watched them from my crib. Best team you've ever been on, obviously.
Oh, obviously, yes. Yeah. 125-50.
That'll do it. 2-2. Fouled away. Well, let's see what Ben May's all about. He's neutral. 12th big league season, more high strikes on lefty batters and fewer outside strikes. Ben May combines the 2 names of Spider-Man's aunt and uncle. Swing and a miss.
Well, there's that cutter down and away, or slider down and away, more like a cut.
They're going to intentionally walk Judge with first base open. Why? Because, Jeff, with runners in scoring position, this year, 18 for 40, hitting .450. Crowd doesn't like it. They came here to see Judge swing the bat.
Well, the Angels have only scored 5 runs total in these last 4 games. After they won 8 in a row, where they're averaging a little over 7 runs.
So here's Cody Bellinger. Cody hitting .366 against left-handed pitcher. And a strike. Bellinger, with runners in scoring position this year, hitting .327. Kikuchi, 33 years old, 7th major league season, coming off his first win of the season. Pitched 5 2/3 shutout innings against the Marlins on Friday. 10 winless starts, so he had a 3.50 ERA. He just hasn't been getting much run support. So the final inning, he's on the mound against the Marlins, Jeff. Ron Washington comes out to give him a pep talk. And Kikuchi said, there was a lot of slang I wasn't familiar with, so I just gave it my all.
110 pitches in that outing. That was a high for him this year.
First and second, 1 out. And the pitch. 3-1. The 11th intentional walk issued to Aaron Judge. That leads Major League Baseball.
Well, you got to expect that's going to happen a lot more here down the road. Guys like Bellinger, Volpe, the ones hit behind him, they have to do the job.
There's ball 4. Loading the bases for Anthony Volpe. So you intentionally walk Judge to get the lefty matchup, and then you walk the lefty, and now you have to face the righty. And here comes Barry Enright, the pitching coach, to talk with Kikuchi.
Kikuchi usually pitches well here in Anaheim. 1.23 ERA this year. In May, he's had an outstanding May. 5 games under 2 ERA. It's always that first inning where these starters start to struggle before they start getting into a rhythm.
Well, as they're talking, we'll take a look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow, the official hot tea of the Yankees. 65 degrees, no chance of rain. Humidity, though, 70%. The wind, 5 miles per hour. So Anthony Volpe came through with the bases loaded in game 1. Got a double to drive in 3. With the bases loaded this season, he's 10 at-bats, 3 hits, and he has 10 ribbies. 1-0. Yankees have a chance to strike early. 2-0.
I would say take a strike, but if you're Anthony Volpe, he's been hot lately. You get something down the middle of the plate that you like, you swing.
Last 4 games, 6 hits and 17 at bats. That one is driven out to left center field, and that is going to be caught on the run by Taylor. Tagging and scoring is Goldschmidt. That's a sac fly for Volpe, and the Yankees have a lead. It's 1-0.
I got a nice fastball to hit to drive somewhere. You usually try to keep starters or at least pitchers when they're struggling early, keep them in that struggling mode, but you got a nice pitch to drive. You've been hot lately. Taylor runs it down, but it was a sac fly.
Yankees have been great getting runners in from third with less than 2 outs. They came into the game tied with the Diamondbacks for most sac flies in the big leagues. And I asked Aaron Boone, is that by design? He said, well, not by design. He said, but we do want to be situational to get those runs in. That's why I've always said, isn't that better than a strikeout? I mean, they used to say, well, we don't care about strikeouts. You don't hit to a double play. Yeah, but you don't get anything else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a productive at-bat right there. When you get bases loaded, it's all about putting runs on the board, especially the way you've pitched.
2-0 on Dominguez, batting from his weaker side, hitting 135 against lefty pitching, 267 against righties. He didn't start yesterday, and he has not sat 2 straight games yet this year, so in the lineup again. Two and 1. Chop slowly, going to be a tough play. The throw to first, not in time. Nice scoop by Shonowell, a nice play by Moncada. But Dominguez beats it out to reload the bases with the infield single.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Moncada even attempted to throw across the diamond. It wasn't hit very well, and Dominguez runs pretty good. I'm surprised that he risked that throw there. It could have gotten away, and it would have been more runs for the Yankees.
There's DJ LeMahieu. In 11 games off the IL, 7 for 34. He swings at the first pitch and skies it to center field. Taylor is there, puts it away, and that'll do it. Yankees get a run. 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. Yankees 1, Angels coming to bat. Well, on their 24th sac fly of the season, Yankees get a run. Now it's the Angels' turn against Clark Schmidt. Take a look at this lineup. Neto, Shonowell, and Moncada at the top. The middle third is Ward, Soler, and Ohapi. And the bottom third, Travis d'Arnaud, Chris Taylor, and Luis Rengifo. And we've already seen Yusei Kikuchi with a 5-4 career record on the mound for the Angels.
And the numbers on Clark Schmidt this year is making his 8th start. There you see the ERA. A little disappointed in his last start in Colorado, 4 2/3 through 97 pitches. Well, let's check out the Nissan pitchers scouting report. Get extended. He's short arms the cutter a little bit. He's really got to throw that out in front. When he has success with it is when he's releasing it out in front of the mound. You'll see that on the outside half to righties and into lefties. The 2-seamer, he didn't throw it very much in that outie against the Rockies, and he doesn't use it very often. I would like to see him use it a lot more. It's pretty nasty. And high pitches per innings. He did a nice job in those 3 starts with 6, and then when he went 6 innings last time, about 20 to 21 per inning, made his outing short.
Pitch to Neto inside. Neto 2 for 8 in this series. He had shoulder surgery during the offseason, so missed the first couple of weeks, but he's come back strong. Led off the first inning with a home run in game 1 of this series. 1-1. One and 2. Well, the Angels have lost 4 in a row. The Yankees trying to make it 5 in a row, and here's the defense they throw at them. Brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers, Dominguez, Grisham, and Bellinger. Left to right in the outfield, Peraza, Volpe, LeMahieu, and Goldschmidt. J.C. Escar behind the plate, and Aaron Judge, the DH. Schmidt is on the mound. It's a base hit to center field for Neto. He's one of the few Angels who worry about with the running game. He has 8 stolen bases.
That's the knuckle curve, and it was up. That's the thing with Clark Schmidt. He does a great job of getting ahead of guys. You'll see a lot of 0-2, 1-2 counts. Next thing you know, you see 2-2, 3-2. He leaves a pitch out over the middle, and he winds up getting hurt on it.
Here's Shonowell. And a strike from Schmidt. So we mentioned the 4 straight losses to the Angels. They've scored 5 runs in those games. And in those games, they've hit 194. These 4 straight losses come on the heels of 8 straight wins. And that got Escara. He's down. That is a tough job, Jeff.
Yeah, that's no fun, and especially it might have got him in that an open leg when he goes down and catches on that one knee, and that exposes that quad. Yeah, I think it got him right on that quad.
Aaron Boone's going to come out and give him some time and talk with him.
See, when you go down and catch with one knee, right off of that inside knee, right above the shin protectors.
Back behind the plate. Count 0-2 on Shonowell. There's that knuckle curve, fouled off.
Again, 0-2. This would be a great time to use that 2-seam fastball away. So I'm going to see about 3 lefties. You have Shadowell's a straight-up lefty, and you have a couple switch hitters in this Angels lineup. This is a good time to run that 2-seamer away from him, and if you don't get that pitch, then you can come right back in with the cutter.
This could be 2. There's 1. And there's 2. 4-6-3. One pitch, 2 outs.
That was a cutter. There you see Escar. He set it up on the outside part of the plate. Shonowell, he does run well. Nice double play. Pitcher's best friend right there.
There's Moncada. And the pitch low, 1-0. 1-0 Yankees on the Volpe sac fly. Now 1-1. First game sold out. Second game last night, about 34,000. Looks about the same tonight. Yankees had 3 big crowds in Colorado, and all 3 games against the Dodgers are sold out. Longest road trip of the year for the Yanks. 9 games, 10 days. Crack to right center field. Base hit. It gets past Bellinger and goes to the wall. And Moncada picks up a 2-out double.
Well, that's what happens when you don't finish off that cutter. When I was talking about getting extended and releasing that out in front. When you're not releasing that cutter out in front, you short arm it and it just spins. It becomes a little cement mixer up top, about 94, 95 miles an hour. There you see Moncada catching it out in front, that cutter out in front.
So here's Taylor Ward. And a strike. 13 pitches so far for Schmidt. Kikuchi threw 27 in the top of the inning. One and one. I'm sure you've seen this. You see the glove on Schmidt, and he's got that lace, long lace hanging. If a batter complains, they would make him tie it or cut it off.
A lot of pitchers, they just like it because it's like a superstition thing. And a lot of times they might chew on it or they'll pull it with their fingers. And there you see that lace there. I've seen them longer than that.
And what we mean is a batter can say, well, that's distracting me. Might not be, but you want to throw the pitcher off. How cool was it the first time you had a glove with your name on it?
Very, very. I was with Wilson in the minor leagues. It seemed like Wilson went with everyone and tried to sign them up to long-term deals. And then I got to Seattle and used Mizuno.
Swing and a miss. Ward down on strikes. No runs, 2 hits. 1 man left. We played 1. Yankees lead 1-0. Well, let's check out FanDuel's live same-game parlay. Is J.C. Escar going to record a hit? Dominguez, will he get a ribby? Schmidt, 7 or more strikeouts. Here's J.C. Escar to lead it off. And there's his hit. Well, hope you got that bet in.
2 to go. Like his first pitch fastball, and he just turns on it. It's supposed to be away. He had 3 big hits in Sunday's game. Wound up that one in the 8th inning was a game winner, or the difference maker anyway.
Speaking of game winner, Peraza's home run, which seemed like a tack on yesterday, made it 3-0. That was the difference in the game as the Yankees won 3-2. Shows bunt, takes high. Meredith said this during the pregame show. If it's a save situation, who is going to close? Is Weaver available? Is Williams available? Is Loaizaga available? And if those 3 are not, who's closing? This could be 2. There's 1. And there's 2.
Well, if Leiter could get the save, possibly if there is a save situation in the 9th inning, even though they say he's down.
And Michael, all of those guys that you mentioned have pitched 2 out of the last 3 days. The Yankees typically pretty careful with their high leverage relievers. You have Tim Hill and Ian Hamilton who are fully rested. So best case scenario, you think Clark Schmidt goes deep into this game, and then perhaps Aaron Boone able to hand it off to one of those guys to finish things out for a couple innings.
And also De Los Santos is a possibility too, Meredith.
He's pitched very well.
Yep. One and one on Goldschmidt.
You mentioned the glove. We used to have to put our numbers in Sharpie on the glove before they started sewing our names in it. I remember putting 43 somewhere where you could read it.
Kikuchi a little aggravated with himself.
He's got a funky little delivery. That glove kind of cocks that glove down to his right hip. Does hide the ball well. Very deceptive.
Three and two.
Well, watch this glove. It goes right down to his right hip. He hides the ball well. There you see that circle change grip right there. That's a great view.
And again, the on-base percentage against lefties goes up even more. Goldschmidt coming to the plate twice, reaching twice. Remember, coming into the game a .625 on-base percentage. That's Central Park softball.
Well, he's done a great job on the off speed. And like I mentioned, you know, it looks like every at-bat, every pitch is a two-strike approach. He's thinking right center. If you come inside, if he cheats on a fastball, he'll yank you down the left field line. When you're letting the ball travel as much as Goldschmidt does, and he's thinking the opposite field or thinking up the middle, he's not over swinging. He's thinking about just contact all the time.
There's a base hit inside third and down the left field line. Goldschmidt off to the races. Playing it out there is Ward. He will fire it in. Goldschmidt stops at third, and Grisham gets himself a double. And will they intentionally walk Judge again?
Well, I think you probably are going to see him go down to first, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Washington wants no part of Aaron Judge.
Goldschmidt at third, Grisham at second, Judge is at first, Bellinger at the plate. One and 0. Knocked down by Darno, 2-0. When they walked Judge intentionally in the first inning, Bellinger followed with a walk.
Now, just like Volpe with bases loaded, 2-0 count. If Bellinger gets something that he can turn on, fastball here, you're swinging.
3-0 hasn't come close.
Now I would say you take.
And a strike, 3-1. Bases are jammed. 2 outs here in the second. Yankees lead 1-0. Kikuchi steps off. And the 3-1. Count full.
Oh, 3-1 slider, bases loaded.
Runners go. Fly ball left field. Ward will put it away, and Washington's strategy works out. 2 hits, bases are left loaded. Washington said, yes, I did the right thing. I walked Judge. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Hyundai. Test drive a new Hyundai today, only at your local Hyundai dealer. By Tunnel to Towers, donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. By FanDuel, new customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And by Optimum Fiber. Get Optimum, the fastest fiber internet. Don't take slow for an answer. We start at the bottom of the second inning, and there's a strike to Jorge Soler. Ground ball through for base hit.
Well, the righties, you're going to have to try to get inside. He did lead off Soler with a first pitch fastball. That was a cutter, again, that stayed up. Whenever the cutter stays up and out over the plate, just means that he's not finishing it off. And he's short-arming that ball.
Here is Logan O'Hoppe. That one gets past Escara all the way to the backstop as Soler advances the second on the wild pitch.
Well, this is just a fastball upstairs just off the top of Escara's glove. He wanted it in.
O'Hoppe was at the plate last night with a chance to win it. Worked the count to 3-0 against Devin Williams. They gave him the green light. He got a little anxious, and he popped it up. Peraza made the play in foul territory, and the Yankees held on for a 3-2 win.
Yeah, swung at a ball about chin high.
On the postgame show, Williams said that he was shocked that O'Hoppe swung 3-0.
Well, you have a guy at the plate with 14 homers, and you look, he pinched hit, and it was at the bottom of the lineup. You got to swing 3-0.
If you're keeping score at home, the ball that went to the backstop was scored a pass ball. The official scorer felt that Escara should make that play.
I'm a little surprised at that one. We just met him today.
Yep.
Have to have a talk to him after the game.
Way outside, so O'Hoppe works a walk. First and second, nobody out. And a little meeting at the mound. Escara and Goldschmidt felt it was time to talk to Clark Schmidt. This is an amazing stretch by the Angels. This is the 26th and final game where they have not left the state of California. The longest stretch in the history of the franchise.
Nice travel right there.
Yeah. Now they haven't been all home games. Played the Dodgers, played the Padres. But they've been in California for 26 straight games.
Well, this will be the last West Coast trip for the Yankees as well. They'll see Texas, where they travel there in August. Other than that, they don't come out west. That'll be pretty easy travel for the Yankees.
Yeah, when you can get your 2 West Coast swings out of the way
by the end of May,
and then still have a 7-game lead in the division, you feel pretty good about things. The vast majority of their games are played in the Eastern time zone. Their remaining games. There's a strike. Fouled away. Soler at second. Hoppy is at first. Darno at the plate. And he goes down swinging. Chased a cutter up in the zone. One away.
Yeah, I would have liked that pitch before he threw that sweeper. That's a nice pitch upstairs and away. How are you going to finish guys when you get ahead? Try to expand his zone, make a quality pitch.
Here's Chris Taylor. This is his third game with the Angels after being designated for assignment by the Dodgers. And a strike. Played twice in center and left field last night. Yankees lead 1-0, but over 2 innings they've left 6 runners on base. The 1-1. 1-2. Yankees will enjoy an off day tomorrow. They are going to head to Los Angeles after the game, so they'll have a day off in Los Angeles, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Dodgers. Popped up. Goldschmidt runs out of room. Hey, suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, hoodies, T-shirts, and more. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source for your Yankees gear. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. That's the third strikeout for Schmidt.
Well, real nice pitch. After coming inside with a cutter, it expands the zone. When he gets ahead, that's what you need to do. Outstanding pitch. There you see J.C. Escar. I love how catchers, when they get ahead and you want to expand the zone, you get off of that outside half. Get off the plate. Show that target away.
Rengifo takes high. Second baseman batting ninth for the Angels. One and one. You know, when the Angels struggle the way they do and they're 25 and 29, the assumption is that they're not going to be a playoff team. And then you start to look at the veterans on the team and who might be available. Who might they trade? Rengifo is one of those guys that can play several positions, a switch hitter. He could be a guy that maybe they could get somebody for.
Yeah, and I don't see them trading any big name guys. You know, Rengifo maybe because you have Newman that could fit in there at second. I'm sure they have some young guys down below.
Three and one. First and second, 2 outs. Yankees lead 1-0.
Moncada could be another one.
Yep. Three and two, so the runners will go. Renifo trying to walk it off after the foul ball.
Ooh, right off the side of that knee. And all these guys wear these protections that protect their shin, their feet. It always seems to find another part of their body.
Well, second inning, and he's about to deliver his 40th pitch. Runners go again, fouled away.
When a lot of it, when you're throwing against lefties, you're seeing a lot of foul balls, and I think a lot of it is he just doesn't use his two-seamer enough. When you're facing a lefty, that's why Rodon has been so dominant. That changeup going away to right is he has something that goes both ways. Well, I think Clark Schmidt needs the same thing. He has a really good two-seam fastball, a lot of movement down and away to a lefty.
Ground ball first base, so Schmidt works into and out of trouble. No runs a hit and 2 men left. Surfing Safari. Well, fans, go to @YesNetwork on X and vote for the Montefiore Einstein Player of the Week. Is it number 1, the guy at the plate, Anthony Volpe? Number 2, Ryan Yarbrough. Or number 3, Carlos Rodon?
How about all three? All the above.
Now, Meredith, the Volpe was all about Carlos Rodon's defense last night.
Well, Michael, the team as a whole just loved that play that he made. A little bit of a jump throw there as he tried to field the ball, I believe, in the 5th inning. And Volpe said afterwards, he's like a left-handed Derek Jeter out there. Some guys had some fun with it, but obviously a great defensive play and a big moment of the game. And Rodon told me he might be feeling that one a little bit today. When I checked in with him today, he said he's fine. No after effects from that defensive play. But, Michael, as you know, Aaron Boone continually says he is way more athletic than people give him credit for. He does a great job fielding his position.
Now, I was watching the post game when I got back to the hotel, and Jack and Ryan were trying to break down the play, and Jack's trying to get into all the minutia of the play, and then they put Ashley Rodon's tweet up on the "That's hot." Jack said, I can't say that's hot.
Fire emoji, smiley face. There you go.
Ashley being Carlos's wife.
I'm glad he did this, and he did do the jump throw. You see too many pitchers that they try to plant that leg to make that throw across. They either slip, and something wrong could happen, but this is a great play.
And, Jeff, it's funny, DJ LeMahieu was so honest after the game. He said he thought he had no shot at making that play. Happy that he did, but he didn't think that it was a definite off the bat there as he tried to track that one down.
Neto in the hole, sets and fires. 1 down. What a performance by Rodon. Forget about that play. 7 innings, 5 hits. Didn't walk a batter. Struck out 10 through 105 pitches. And, Jeff, that's not just a one-off. That's the last 8 starts in a row.
Yeah, he's been dominant. And I always say it's because of the changeup, and he can go both ways. It makes the slider a lot better. The 4-seam fastball, the confidence. He just continues to have tons of confidence out on that mound. Well, that play, I mean, Adele, he did it on Adele. Adele runs pretty well. He's not a slow guy.
Jeff, you mentioned the changeup. He spoke a lot about that after the game, about how that does make the slider better, makes the slider look like it has more depth. And, Michael, you noted the 0 walks. Rodon just smiled and said, I've been trying to do that all season long.
0-2.
Well, he's more of a pitcher now, I think, because of that changeup. I think it gives him more confidence that if he's not finding the slider or he's not throwing that for strikes, he has that other pitch to go the other way now. It's not just constant hard stuff in or 4-seam fastballs out over the plate.
Well, the whole performance, I mean, you'd have to say, that's hot.
That was hot.
Yeah, that was hot.
Michael, you smiling when you say it, like, I don't know, it's ruining it for me. He's very proud of himself, Jeff.
I'm a big follower of Ashley Rodon. If you follow her during Carlos's starts, it's very entertaining. She doesn't hold anything back.
She does not. She is involved.
Non-stop tweeting every inning, every pitch.
Missed pitches. She's got the strike zone up. She's good.
Really?
She's a good follow.
She's involved, yeah. Love to see it, though, right?
Yeah.
Great support.
I mean, Jody doesn't even know I'm out of the house. I've been in Anaheim for 3 days.
When do you think she's going to realize you're in California?
when I come in tomorrow.
For a brief time, and then you're out the door.
Right.
Maybe Charlie will tell her that he saw you surfing yesterday.
Charlie knows, but Jody, I'm not so sure.
Come on, she knows.
Here's DJ LeMahieu. 1-0. LeMahieu had a chance to really break it open in the first inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs, but he swung at the first pitch and skied out to Taylor just to the right of dead center field.
Now, knowing that you can't swim, and when you did go surfing and you got crushed by a wave, you flop around like a wounded duck out there in the water?
First of all, you keep saying I can't swim. I don't swim well. I can save myself.
That's just like saying you can't swim.
He can save himself until one of us are diving in after him.
Yes.
I think Meredith was very happy with the lesson she gave me the other day. She was satisfied. She thought I did okay.
Surf in a foot of water. That was your lesson?
It was just stand up, Michael. You'll be fine.
Runner goes. The throw to second, not nearly in time. Stolen base for Dominguez.
Well, when you steal off the left, you're going first move. See, as soon as he lifts that foot, and that right foot goes behind the rubber, so he has to come home. That was a great jump. See Darno throwing from his knees. No shot.
Three and one on LeMahieu.
Five walks already for Kikuchi.
3-2. Dominguez at second. Chop. Moncada gets LeMahieu, and Dominguez stays put. Here's Escara. Fly ball, left field. Ward puts it away, and the Yankees have left 7 runners on base over the first 3 innings, but they lead 1-0 right here on Yes. Well, it's time for Pinstripe Pride, brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. Tonight's picture is of 6-year-old Leo. Look at that smile. His mom calls him Aaron Judge's #1 fan, and Leo can't wait to see his hero in person when the Yankees are back home next week. Use the hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride. Mention Yes in pictures you post to social media to reflect your love for the Bronx Bombers. We might spotlight you in a future game. I don't know how often you get the chance, Jeff, to see Judge interact with kids.
Oh, I do. Amazing. Yeah, when I'm at the park, and all the time.
He gets down on his knees, so he's looking them eye to eye and has conversations with them that they'll remember forever. It's really cool. I think there are some players that don't quite realize the impact they have on kids.
He does.
He does.
Yeah, I've watched him a lot, and it's pretty impressive. Obviously a great baseball player, but even better off the field. There's not too many athletes that you can go up and approach and that are approachable. He's one. And during batting practice, they always have those BP passes. I saw it in Colorado, even here in Anaheim, going through the line, talking to everyone.
One and two. That's what we're talking about.
Well, these little kids look up to you, and a lot of them would love to be Aaron Judge when they get bigger. And like you mentioned, Michael, these kids will remember this for the rest of their lives, except that guy that just tossed the ball down for about 3 or 4 rows.
Players don't dig that.
No, not at all.
They'll take the ball from you, but I mean, if everybody starts firing the ball at you, you're going to start getting hit with the baseball.
Exactly. That's when everything stops.
One and two on Neto. Top of the order for the Angels against Schmidt. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. Strikeout number 4 for Clark.
Well, it's a good slider down and away. Neto tried to hold up.
You know, Jeff, you're good. You are good. They have changed the pass ball to a wild pitch.
Yeah, I texted him. I said that wasn't the right call.
And he's afraid of you, and he changed it. Yeah. You're an intimidating dude. Big.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't smile too much.
And then what was that, chainsaw?
The chainsaw.
Yeah.
Coney liked it.
Oh, I loved it, but I was intimidated by it.
Yeah,
all the way up here.
That's why I wanted to strike everybody out, just to do that for everyone. Never tried to show anybody up. It's just like adrenaline release.
One and two on Shonowell.
I was like O'Neill. I was really an intense player when I played. And when I was fine out in the bullpen and in the dugout, but when I was crossed between the lines.
Well, I love the brawls. I mean, you were the first one out of the. I mean, you just wanted some kind of altercation.
You had to protect your players. Actually, right here was the very first big league brawl that I got into in 1992. And it was Dave Valley. I was in Seattle, and Dave Valley was my catcher. Chad Curtis was on third. There was a routine fly ball in the outfield. I don't know, either Jay Buhner or Griffey threw it home, and plenty of time. And Valley tagged him, because back then you could block the plate.
Right.
And Valley tagged Curtis as hard as he could in the chest and buried it. Next thing you know, the bench is clear. Remember Lance Parrish?
Yeah. Big guy.
He was with the Angels, and I'm sitting there because I was backing up to play. All of a sudden, he comes running out of the dugout, and veins just popping out everywhere. Kevin Mitchell, remember Kevin Mitchell comes out of our dugout, stepping on guys to get on and get into the brawl. I was like, wow.
Yeah, Lance Parrish and Kevin Mitchell would not be on my bingo cards of guys I want to fight.
No, and they're great guys, too, because Lance Parrish, I was a teammate of his. Kevin Mitchell, obviously. And brawls back then, they lasted a while. It wasn't one of those, a couple minutes, let's go. It was 10, 15, 20 minutes. Umpires wanted nothing to do with it. Wasn't like hockey.
Three and two. Shawnoel battling Schmidt. Now, we mentioned this earlier, so when you look at Schmidt's pitch total, it's 54. It's going to be very interesting to see how Aaron Boone and his staff navigate, I don't know, the last 4 innings, because if he's at 54 now, what's he going to go, maybe 5+? And I think they're a little short in the bullpen today.
And a lot of it, you're seeing a lot of foul balls. This will be the 6th pitch in this at-bat.
Fly ball, center field. Grisham. Let's take a look at the bullpen budget brought to you by Citizens. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Now, when you see these numbers, the numbers in the box, that's how many pitches they threw yesterday. So Weaver pitched Sunday and Monday. They don't have guys go 3 out of 4. Williams pitched Sunday and Tuesday. That would be 3 out of 4. Same thing with Loaizaga. So I think they're going to try to stay away from those 3. And a closing situation, as Jeff surmised earlier, would probably be Leiter Jr., but you got to get to that 9th inning, too.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Hedrick. Hedrick pitched last on Saturday, and he really did a nice job. I liked his stuff at 1-2-3 inning. Tim Hill has struggled a little bit out of that bullpen of late.
Hamilton, same thing.
Right. Threw a clean inning in Denver, which was nice to see.
Line drive on one hop, grabbed by Peraza. And a nice backhanded scoop by Goldschmidt to get Moncada. Nice play on both ends. As the Angels go down in order. One hopper, grabbed by Peraza. He stumbles, fires. It's in the dirt, but not a problem. Scoop. There it is. Peraza leads off the 4th inning against Kikuchi, and the first pitch is high, 1-0. Yankees lead 1-0. First inning run on a sac fly by Anthony Volpe. Yankees lead Major League Baseball with 25 sac flies. Three and one. Hey, Kikuchi's known as a guy that throws a lot of pitches. He's going to get 3-ball counts a lot. He's already walked his share, 2 of them intentionally, the judge. 3-2.
Well, he threw 110 in his last outing. He's already at 68. This is not something that Ron Washington wanted either. He was hoping that Kikuchi could go deep into the game. That Angels bullpen last in baseball in ERA.
Swing and a miss, so he comes back from being down on the count to strike out Peraza. Let's check out tonight's injury report brought to you by Monitor Einstein, the official hospital of New York Yankees. Oswaldo Cabrera has been out with that injury that required surgery. We have not heard much from him. I know he watches all the games. He's going to be a guest on Yankees News and Views. That's the great podcast with Jack Curry, and we're going to drop that podcast. It will be available tomorrow. So make sure to tune in to hear from Oswaldo Cabrera, how he's doing and how he's coping.
Hey, Michael, Fernando Cruz also threw a bullpen today here at the Big A. 20 pitches. He told me when I asked him how he felt afterwards, he said it was amazing. No issues at all. He's expected to throw a simulated game on Saturday, and then he's eligible to come off the injured list on June 3rd. He expects that he will be back in that bullpen at that point in time.
You know, with Meredith, nothing with Cabrera. I mean, I haven't heard of any kind of timetable or how he's doing.
The surgery allegedly went well, and he has not really been around the stadium that much. It's a bit of healing that needs to take place. He did break his ankle, so I don't know the specifics of the surgery. I do know that it is it takes a while to get back from an ankle injury. So not officially ruled out for this year, but there's a long road ahead until he gets the mobility back and all of that stuff.
Will we find out possibly when this podcast drops?
That's why you got to download.
That's why you have to listen, Jeff. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of hoping to get ahead of it because I don't know if I'm going to be listening to this podcast. We'll be in the air. I wanted to get a little more information quickly.
Well, you'll land by 8 o'clock, then download the baby and listen to it in the car.
It'll be the first time we're hearing from Oswaldo exactly the details of the surgery and what they're telling him as far as the rehab process. But I imagine that that ankle needs to be stabilized for quite a few weeks until he can start doing any range of motion stuff.
I've known Jack Curry almost 40 years. Never asked me to be on his podcast.
Really?
Never. Have you ever been on?
No, absolutely not. Well,
now, guys,
how long have I known you?
Since
long time.
96.
Yeah, and you've never asked me when you had a radio show to come on.
I still have a radio show.
And you still have never asked me.
You have been on my radio show.
I haven't.
Yes, you have. In the early days, you were.
Well, in defense of Jack Curry, the podcast is relatively new, guys. So let's stop the fighting in the front row right now.
Have you been on the podcast?
Me?
Yeah.
I have not, but
then join in.
I'm not going to take it personally. I'll move over to another injury that seems to be moving in the right direction, unlike this conversation. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is expected to start his rehab assignment with the Somerset Patriots tomorrow, and Aaron Boone dropped today, Michael, that he's probably going to play some third base. So when Jazz gets back, there's a good possibility that LeMahieu remains at second, Jazz Chisholm Jr. goes to third. And I know you watched him with the Marlins when he came over here last year, Jeff. He pretty much exclusively played third. He had never done that at a professional level before and fit in quite nicely. Aaron Boone said willing to do it again this year.
Down goes Grisham. You notice Meredith is like the kid that doesn't like to see her parents fight, so she changes the subject.
Do what I can, Michael. Somebody's got to keep the group together.
Let's cook up something special with Hexclad. Join the hybrid revolution at hexclad.com. We're a third of the way through the season. That's the 54-game mark. Yankees have the third best won-loss record, third best runs per game, first in home runs, first in OPS, sixth in runs allowed. And there's a strike to Ward.
You average almost 6 runs a game, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah. So Jack Curry, because he's a good guy, he just texted me. Oswaldo started his rehab at the stadium today. Doctors told him his recovery will be 4 to 6 months. So when you listen to the podcast, he speaks a lot about the play, the injury, the comeback trail, and the support that he's received. So Jack
gave us a little taste.
He emphasizes to tune in to find out more. Ground ball, LeMahieu. You know, Meredith, you brought up the previous inning about, Jazz Chisholm going to play some third base, and he actually walked into Aaron Boone's office and said, I'll play wherever you want. All I want is a ring. And there's a lot of things that go into that. I think LeMahieu's been comfortable at second. Last year, Chisholm played very well at third. Also, if the Yankees want to acquire an infielder, there are many more second basemen that are available than third basemen.
No doubt about it. And I think just putting him over there and getting some reps in the minors before getting back, I mean, we could see Jazz Chisholm Jr. as early as next week in the Bronx. Just gives Aaron Boone some more versatility, some more options, depending on who's on the mound on the other side and what he wants to do on any given day. But LeMahieu, since being back, is healthy, has looked comfortable, and it seems as though they prefer him at second base, Michael.
And also, if you do make a trade, and let's say you start Chisholm at second and LeMahieu at third, and you bring in a second baseman, is it really fair to Jazz then to switch him again? So, as you can tell, the Yankees have been looking for a third baseman for a while. They haven't been able to get one. I don't know if anything's going to shake loose in the next month or so.
Yeah, who knows with what's going to and who's going to be available. But at this time, DJ, like they mentioned, DJ's very comfortable at second base. A little bit easier throw for him from there. Jazz came up as a shortstop, went from shortstop to second base to center field. Then he got traded to the Yankees and went to third base. So he's a pretty good athlete.
Popped up shallow right field. Going to be a tough play. Oh, Goldschmidt had it and dropped it. An over-the-shoulder attempt. It was in his glove, and then it fell to the grass. A base hit for Soler.
God, we've seen him make so many of these plays this year. It just hits him in the heel of the glove. He bobbles it a little bit, just can't hang on.
There's Logan O'Hoppe. You know, to finish up the story about Jazz, for him to walk into Boone's office, say, I'll play wherever you want, I just want a ring. We're living in an era now where players have said, no, I'm not moving from where I am. No, I'm not doing this. They just said no. And Jazz has been open to anything.
Yeah, well, that's a selfish player.
Not Jazz. The people that say no.
People that say no, not Jazz at all.
And, you know, Yankees are going into Dodger Stadium. They have Mookie Betts who goes all over the place.
Yes. I mean, those players play for the team. They don't play for themselves. Jazz plays for the team, not for himself.
Aaron Judge willingly moved to center field to make room for Juan Soto last year. Didn't complain. And he's a really fine right fielder. And he said, yeah, I'll play center.
Exactly.
One on, one out, 1-2 count on O'Hoppe.
That was a good pitch right there because that sets up the outside. One of the reasons why Schmidt gets so many foul balls is when you're pitching to one side of the plate constantly. For a righty, you're pitching to the outside part of the plate. Lefty is pitching to the inside. You're going to get a lot of foul balls. Once you start coming inside to righties, then you can expand the zone.
Ground ball is short. There's one. On to first. Got him. Double play. Just got him. A 6-4-3 double play. A great turn by LeMahieu. Let's see if the Angels challenge. Hard to tell on that replay.
But I think Ron Washington is going to challenge.
Los Angeles is challenging the out call at first base.
They're challenging and they'll have that call overturned. It looked like his foot hit the bag before the ball went into the glove.
I mean, even that pitch right there to O'Hoppe, once you came inside, you made him aware of that inside pitch. That breaking ball wasn't a great breaking ball, but you still got the ground ball out of it.
Challenge replay brought to you by Citizens. Made ready. I think he's safe, right?
Yeah, I think he might be safe.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Los Angeles will retain their challenge.
So a good challenge by Ron Washington. They retain their challenge because they got it right. Darno with a high fly ball to center. Grisham is there, puts it away, and that will do it. No runs a hit, and one man left on base. 4 in the books. It's 1-0 Yanks. Well, it's time for pitching decisions presented by Sage. This was really Ron Washington's decision.
Well, he did it in the first inning, and in a sense, it backfired because Volpe wound up hitting that sac fly. But there, it did work. There you see the reaction of Ron Washington. Because the last time Bellinger walked to load the bases, then he had a sac fly. But
now Judge is the first Yankee to be intentionally walked twice within the first 2 innings of the game since. Older Yankee fans will remember the name Gene Woodling on August 30th of 1953 at Comiskey Park against the White Sox. And he leads off. And there's a strike. So some interaction between Judge and Ron Washington.
Well, you have the best hitter in baseball, and you have first base open, runners in scoring position. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
I was going to say that I hate when it happens because I love to see him swing the bat, but I don't understand why more people don't do it.
Why anybody pitches to this guy?
Because there's no proper protection. Who out there would you be afraid to face rather than Aaron Judge? And that's no knock on Bellinger. He's having a really good year. As a pitcher, did it bother you when somebody said you intentionally walk him?
Not really, because most of the guys that I intentionally walk was probably a left-hander to get to a righty.
High fly ball. Right center. Soler puts it away.
I mean, back then you had to throw 4 pitches.
Right. Here's Bellinger. And a strike.
That was the worst part, of lobbing 4 pitches outside to try to walk someone.
And there was some gamesmanship to it because there was a World Series game where Johnny Bench was calling for an intentional walk, but then squatted behind the plate and they threw a strike and they struck the guy out.
Pena did that when he was catching as well. I think he was maybe with the Red Sox. That, or I think maybe Cleveland.
And I know they've tried to speed up the game, but I mean, 4 intentional balls doesn't really slow the game down that much.
No, and plus, if you have a guy on second or even third and you're intentionally walking someone, you never know if that pitcher winds up firing one to the backstop.
Yep.
I mean, it's not easy. I mean, when you're throwing 90 to 95 miles an hour with all you have, and next thing you know, you have to throw 4 easy pitches, and that catcher can't come behind the plate until you release the ball.
Because it would be a catcher's ball.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough to do.
Three and 2 on Bellinger. Bellinger's walked in, skied out to left. Ground ball first base, grabbed by Shonowell. And Bellinger hustling to the bag, but Shonowell beats him there. 2 away. Now let's take a look at leaders brought to you by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. In May, Kikuchi has been money 1.91 after a rough start in March and April. Opponents' average against has been lowered. Walk percentage has been lowered. And home runs allowed per 9 innings, that's also lowered. So 2 down here in the 5th inning. Yankees lead 1-0. And that's going to bring up Volpe. Volpe has driven in the only run, the sac fly in the 1st inning. And I told you that the Yankees lead the major leagues with sac flies. And it made me think, when I started to fall in love with baseball, there was a guy who had an unbelievable year with sac flies, and that was Roy White, who, for those that don't know, look up his career. Right. What a player Roy White was. I mean, he was the modern-day old reliable. He had 17 sac flies in 1971. And that's the Yankees single-season record.
I think it's a great stat because it means one thing, that they're not over-swinging. When they have a job to do, all they want to do is put contact on the ball, either in the infield, if the infield's back, or try to lift it in the air. That means they're giving up that at-bat to try to score a run. So I think it's a great stat.
And there's something to be said for doing your job and getting a run in.
It is.
So Roy White was there when the Yankees weren't very good, and he stayed around. He was on the championship teams in 77, 78. Played left field. didn't really look for the spotlight. Two-time All-Star. You see his lifetime numbers. One of 10 players who played 15 or more seasons with the Yankees. And he wore number 6 before Joe Torre.
Right.
And a class act. You've seen him
all the time
Day.
at the stadium, yes. Yep. Does a lot of appearances at the stadium. He's a terrific guy.
Three and one. I mean, as the Yankees transitioned into a power in 76 and 77, 78, the guys that were there from the beginning, Thurman Munson, Roy White, Bobby Mercer before he was traded, they were part of the transition through the rough years into when they became a perennial contender. So 3-2 on Volpe. And he swings and misses. And Kikuchi has retired 8 in a row. We're halfway through. 1-0 Yanks. Well, fans, the Gotham Sports app is your home for streaming live Yankees games and so much more. And it's free with an eligible TV provider subscription. Download the Gotham Sports app now or visit GothamSports.com to get streaming. Chris Taylor leads on the bottom of the 5th. Yankees lead 1-0. 0-1. Fouled away and out of play. One and two. Foul back. Just over our booth. Along with Jeff Nelson and Meredith Marakovitz, I'm Michael Kay, and we thank you so much for spending part of your late Wednesday evening with us. Yankees lead the Angels 1-0 as they try to sweep a 3-game set. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. High fly ball. Left field. Catch is made by Dominguez. One away. Time to name that Yankee, brought to you by Prevagen, made for your brain. Good numbers there, 3.33 ERA, a lot of strikeouts. Started with the Pirates, then the Angels, Mets, and the Yankees. Expos, Twins, Blue Jays, Dodgers, and finished up again with the Pirates.
You know that one?
Yeah, I did. I did know that one. And Boone got it right away, too.
Really?
Yep. I'll give you a little clue. Left-handed. And really tough left-handed. Yep.
Starter?
Yep. Robert Stevenson is warming up. Driven out to left field. Dominguez puts it away, 2 down. Back to the top of the order, and Zach Neto, he's 1 for 2, singled in the first, struck out in the third. If he could get out of this inning, a couple of pitches to get the third out, he's got the pitch count under control. One and 0. As nightfall takes over here in Anaheim, it bears mentioning that on this date, 1946, the first night game ever played at Yankee Stadium. And night baseball had started in 1935, but they waited until 1946 to play it at Yankee Stadium. They drew a crowd of 49,917. And the Senators beat the Yankees 2-1. Dutch Leonard out-dueled. You ready for this name? Cuddles Marshall.
Cuddles.
Cuddles. Two balls, two strikes, two outs here in the fifth. Ground ball, Peraza. And he fires a strike to Goldschmidt. 1-2-3 inning for Schmidt. We'll go to the sixth.
Ryan Rucco here with your Audi update. Let's take a look at the Yankees' next opponent, the Dodgers, going for the sweep. This won't help. Angel Martinez, a 3-run shot to left, breaks a 4-4 tie, gives the Guardians a 7-4 lead. They win it 7-4 to avoid the sweep at the hands of L.A. So we send it back to Michael, Nelly, and Meredith.
Well, thank you, Ryan. We go around the majors. Ronel Blanco will undergo Tommy John surgery. Big loss for the Astros, who've been playing better this year. Paul Skeens, 38 strikeouts in May, 1.91 ERA, but 1-3 record in 6 starts. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 6-3, 1.97 ERA this season, and he is scheduled to start Sunday night against the Yankees at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, for the Pirates, nobody scores for Skeens either. The Pirates are really struggling.
Robert Stevenson takes over. This is his first big league appearance since 2023. And Dominguez turns around to the left side, swings and misses.
Well, Stevenson's got a good fastball, 96-98. He throws the cutter and the slider more, though.
Newman takes over at third base for Moncada. So it's his first big league game since September 30th of 2023 with the Rays. He signed a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Angels before the 2024 season, but immediately needed Tommy John surgery that April, and he's been out for 16 months. The last time he was healthy, had a great 2023 season, a 3.10 ERA, and a 38% strikeout rate. Split time between the Pirates and the Rays. And down goes Dominguez, so a long wait is ended with a strikeout for Stevenson.
Oh, there you saw the heater. That was 98 miles an hour at the top of the zone.
Now, Jeff, he had a very unusual codicil in the contract that he signed with the Angels. So 3 years, $33 million. But they tacked on a $2.5 million team option for 2027 if he had an elbow injury that put him on the IL for 130 consecutive days.
Really? Wow. Adds another year.
Yep. 0-2. He's from California, Martinez, California. He's 32 years old. 9th big league season. LeMahieu's 0 for 2. So Kikuchi went 5 innings. 4 hits, 1 run, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. He threw 93 pitches, 51 strikes. Sixth inning, final game of this 3-game set. Yankees lead 1-0. They scored the run in the first inning on a sac fly. That's the offense in the game. Each team with 4 hits. So 2 straight strikeouts for Stevenson.
He's got good stuff. Good fastball, 98, 96 to 98. There's a cutter down. A little more of a slider break to it. It's pretty nasty.
So here's J.C. Escara, 1 for 2 tonight. How good must it feel for Stevenson to be back out on the mound?
After 16 months, that's a long time. It's a rehab. Looks like it could be a good arm in the back end of that bullpen.
I was looking at the area of surgery for Garrett Cole. So as far as they've come with all these medical miracles when it comes to arms, it's still the ugliest zipper scar that you've ever seen.
And they did the internal brace, I think, as well.
Yeah, to try to speed it up. But you think they'd come up with maybe an arthroscopic thing where you wouldn't have this ugly zipper scar, but every Tommy John patient has that.
Yeah, they got to open you up. And to put that internal brace, I think a lot of that is also to keep him from having it again, tearing that ligament again.
1-2. Popped up. Newman will make the play in a 1-2-3 inning for Robert Stevenson. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees up 1-0. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Untuck It. Find the perfect fit today at untuckit.com or more than 80 stores worldwide. By Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. And by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Championship shortstops. Middle infielder, because Willie's in there as well. Montefiore Einstein, 1-0 Yankees lead.
Eckstein was a pain in the butt. Little guy, contact hitter.
I'm going to make my monthly plea. Please, if you're watching this game, go check out Willie Randolph's stats and tell me, when you look at the second basemen that are in the Hall of Fame, why is Willie Randolph not in the Hall of Fame?
I would agree with you.
I think he has the highest WAR of any second baseman not in the Hall of Fame. Underappreciated on a high-profile team, just did his job and won championships. So I'm a big Willie Randolph booster.
I would agree with you.
Hamilton warming up for the Yanks. Up against it with Schmidt with 88 pitches, so they'd like to get him through this inning at least, and then have to cover the final 9 outs.
I'll throw another one at you.
Okay.
Jorge Posada.
Also, underappreciated. He didn't get enough of a look.
Look at the numbers of some of the catchers in there.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Numbers.
Yep.
Some of them.
And I think, again, on those teams with the big superstar names, you kind of get lost in the shuffle and maybe underappreciated.
I don't think Bernie got a long enough look either.
David Cohn didn't either.
No.
High fly ball, right center and deep. Grisham back, he's on the track, he'll make the play and hit up against the wall for out number 1. Here's Willie Randolph's resume. We'll help you out before you do your research. 6-time world champion, obviously 4 as a coach, 5-time All-Star, Yankee captain, Yankee coach. Look at the numbers, watch him play second base. He was a glue on that infield. and respected by everybody. And then Posada, 17 big league seasons, all with one team, 5 world championships, 5-time All-Star.
Over 1,000 RBIs.
Two quiet, but gritty, gutty, hard-nosed players. All right, so I'll wait till June to make my case again. Every month I try to do it. And of course, Thurman Munson should be in the Hall of Fame.
I would agree.
And the 0-2. Munson, 11 big league seasons, his life and career tragically cut short by the plane crash. 2-time world champion, American League MVP in '76, Rookie of the Year in '70, and the Yankee captain from '76 to the time of his death.
You got to see, I grew up in Baltimore. I didn't see much of Thurman Munson as a player, just hearing him. All the guys that played with him, all the stories, you know, just you almost wish that you were a teammate of his. You got to see him play
on a daily basis. Unbelievable. Gave his body up for his team. Pop foul, long run for Goldschmidt, runs out of room. And if you want to see one of the big time clutch home runs, check out American League Championship Series against the Royals. He hits a home run off Doug Bird when left center field at Yankee Stadium was about 430 some odd feet, and he hit it into where the flagpole was. It just kept going and going, and it was a huge home run that got the Yankees to the World Series. Played hurt a lot.
Yeah, I'm being around Mickey Rivers and Roy White, Bucky Dent, hearing them talk about Thurman Munson. It was almost like you were right there with him.
Newman pops it up. And I'm convinced, Jeff, if he didn't die in that plane crash, he would have become a Yankee manager. George Steinbrenner loved Thurman Munson, and he had great leadership skills.
Catchers make really good managers.
So 2 down here in the 6th inning. Here's Taylor Ward. One 1-0 on Ward, who's 0 for 2 against Schmidt. A strikeout and a ground ball to second. Popped up. Goldschmidt's there. And puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. 6 strong for Schmidt. He leads 1-0. Time for the Audi Electric Moment. Experience a fully electric Audi vehicle at your local Tri-State Audi dealer today. Guys that should be in the Hall of Fame, Jeff. There's Willie showing his guns. Posada with one of the biggest hits in Yankee playoff history against Pedro Martinez. And then here's the home run against Doug Bird. It just kept going and going and going.
You were right, 430.
Wow. Get him into Cooperstown. Congratulations for Clark Schmidt. He pitched very well. 6 innings, 4 hits, shutout. And now the Yankees will try to get 9 outs out of the bullpen. Ford scoreboard, 1-0 Yanks. The new pitcher is Ryan Zefferjohn, 27 years old, 2nd big league season. He can strike out. And the first guy he's going to face is the pinch hitter, Ben Rice, pinch hitting for Peraza.
Well, Jeff Zefferjohn, a really good fastball, 97 to 99. Also throws a cutter and a slider.
Here's what Ben Rice did last night.
Now he got a changeup. And you look at the reaction from Anderson. Number 11 on the year.
Jefferson deals. Hard line drive right at Rengifo. 1 pitch, 1 out. That'll bring up Goldschmidt, and it brings us to the Farzinga hitters scouting report.
Well, I'm just going to throw some numbers at you, what he's done this year so far, and you threw a few of them out. In the leadoff spot, he's hitting .357, 78 plate appearances. On the road, he's hitting .418. And versus lefties, this was before tonight, .533. You mentioned that earlier. It's just been incredible what he's done so far this year, Goldschmidt.
And a strike to the Yankee first baseman. Another strike, 0-2. So Kikuchi started, Stevenson with a strong 6th inning, and now Jefferson. Here in the 7th, outside. Just got a piece to stay alive. Crowd of 36,808. Many Yankee fans with the Let's Go Yankee chant. Swing and a miss. Goldschmidt down on strikes.
That was a hard cut fastball, 91 miles an hour.
Here's Grisham, 2 outs in the 7th. Yankees lead 1-0. The baseball gods have a way, so you're uncertain who's going to close because your bullpen is overused, so it's got to be a 1-0 game. It can't be a blowout, right?
No, that way you have a no-brainer. I would imagine maybe we see lighter in that 9th inning if the score stays the same.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much a gimme, but how you get the other 6 outs, right. That's what they have to decide.
You have to piece them together between Hamilton, Hedrick, possibly De Los Santos.
Little Hill.
Yeah, Hill.
Yep. Broken bat, looped into right field. It's a base hit in front of Soler. He'll trade a bat for a hit. The barrel of the bat is at second base, where Rengifo would be playing. And here's Aaron Judge. Judge intentionally walked in the 1st and the 2nd inning, led off the 5th, and hit a fly ball to right. Beach ball gets loose, falls out of the outfield seats into right center field. Washington said no. No, we're going to pitch you. Ron Washington has fun.
He does.
A baseball lifer. A strike. Oh, this guy has good stuff.
Yeah, good 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Go along with that cutter and the slider. That was a backup slider right there, sweeper. You're going to see something, probably the same pitch down and away this time.
A lot in front of that breaking ball, fouled it off.
Yeah, he hung it. He wanted it away. It was just an emergency hack to stay in the count.
Just getting back is Grisham.
He had Grisham, watch how he hops a couple hops, and then all of a sudden he'd hurry up and gets back and just gets the back of that base.
One on, 2 outs in the 7th. 1-0 Yanks. One and 2.
You have the bigger bases, and you always now see the first baseman. They're off the bag and in front of the bag when there's a runner on first. You don't see the guys with their foot on the bag anymore.
Runner goes, ball fouled away.
When you had the smaller bases, the first baseman, a lot of them would go right up against that bag to receive the throw over from the pitcher. Now they stay in front of it. They have to reach all the way back because all those runners go and try to grab the back of the base.
One, 2. Runner goes. Strike 3. Judge down looking. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. Time for the 7th inning stretch in California. 1-0 Yanks.
Ryan Rucco, Jack Curry here with your Ford update. Jack, you talked about in our pregame being curious how Clark Schmidt would respond after he was very hard on himself in Colorado. Well, he has responded quite well.
Yeah, he went from being an angry pitcher in Colorado to just being a pitcher who was in total command tonight. 6 scoreless innings, the cutter, the sweeper, the curveball. He had 2 base runners in the first inning, Ryan. Only 3 more base runners the rest of the way.
Now, Michael and Jeff were talking about it. How did the Yankees piece together the final 9 outs? We find out now, guys.
Well, thank you, Ryan and Jack. 1-5-0 for the Yanks, 0-4-0 for the Angels. Schmidt went 6. Volpe has accounted for the only run with the sac fly in the first. Kikuchi went 5. The Angels have scored 3 runs in this series. New Yankee pitcher is Ian Hamilton. Didn't allow a run on Saturday. Yankees have a new third baseman. It's Yorbi Bibas. After Rice pinch hit for Peraza. First up, Soler, pitch inside.
Yeah, it was Max Fried's game on Saturday. Pitched an inning in 2/3. Finished it up.
So a nice bounce back on Saturday for Hamilton. Got the final 5 outs without allowing a run after he'd given up runs in back-to-back games. Two and one.
A little bit easier in that game when it was 13-1.
It was the death of a beach ball. Grounded foul.
Schmidt did a really nice job.
Let's take a look at Clark Schmidt's 4 strikeouts. Statcast 3D by Google Cloud.
Yeah, the slider, the cutter upstairs. He did a really nice job. He was getting ahead of guys, which you absolutely love. 14 to 22 first pitch strikes. 69 strikes out of 94 pitches, 93 pitches. 99, excuse me.
Just got a piece to stay alive. Yankees going for the sweep. If they can accomplish that, they'd be 5-1 in the first 2 starts or stops in this road trip. Reed Detmers is warming up. And that got Ascara again. Looks like got him in the same place.
Yeah. You know, they go down on that knee and it exposes that quad. That right quad looked like it got him right above the shin guard. See, look at that right leg. Ooh, right on top. Remember the cold spray? Where's that?
Yeah, that ethyl chloride,
pull it out of their
right?
back pocket, spray it on there, go get them.
Full count on Soler. Swing and a miss, got him. Big strikeout for Hamilton.
Yeah, you really had to watch the fastball there, and Soler is such a good fastball hitter, especially when he's got a 3-2 count. You drop the slider down on him or that Schlambio. It was a good pitch.
Here's O'Hoppe. Chops the breaking ball in for a strike. And a fan has run out of the stands, is running in right field. And he is not going to have a pleasant end of the evening. Now trying to run back in the stands, and he's obviously going to get apprehended once in there. I don't get it. I mean, it's said over and over and over again, Jeff, that you're going to end up going to jail, even if for the night. Right. Is it worth it?
No.
I'm sure there must be alcohol involved. I can't see you doing that rationally.
I don't get it.
Well, they got him, and now 2 officers will take him out of the ballpark through the fence in right field. And so his moment of attention will end up with him behind bars for a while. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Senseless.
One strike on O'Hoppe. One out in the 7th. The Yankees lead 1-0. One and one. And a strike. So Hoppy has 14 home runs, the most home runs ever hit by an Angels catcher, 24 by Lance Parrish in 1990. He can certainly reach that. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Another breaking ball. 2 strikeouts for Hamilton. 6 strikeout for Yankee pitching. And the 6th Yankee strikeout brought to you by Audi and the 2025 Audi Q6. Visit your local Tri-State Audi dealer today. Darno swings and misses. So the Yankees looking for 9 outs out of the pen. Now it's down to 7 as Hamilton's gotten the first 2 here in the 7th. One and one. Darno signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Angels in November. Most recently with the Braves. Popped up behind the plate. Escara puts it away. And the Angels retired in order by Ian Hamilton. Let's go to the 8th. Well, this year marks Yogi Berra's 100th birthday, and the Yankees have a special giveaway to help commemorate it. On Friday, June 6th, the first 18,000 guests receive a special Yogi Berra U.S. Navy bobblehead that recognizes his military service, courtesy of State Farm. Tickets going fast, so get your tickets today at Yankees.com. Hyundai scoreboard, Yankees lead 1-0 as we head to the 8th inning. New pitcher for the Angels, Reed Detmers. Yankees saw him yesterday. The number's not that great. A strikeout per inning with too many walks. Opponents hitting .322 against Detmers. And he'll face Bellinger, Volpe, and Dominguez. One and 0. There's a strike. Bellinger came into the game hitting .366 against left-handed pitching. The Yankee lefty batters against lefty pitching coming into the game hit .240. And you might say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it is when, you know, that's pretty much the major league average for hitting, and that's 10th best in baseball. And they have a .785 OPS, which is 6th best in baseball. As a team against left-handed pitching, they hit .275. Only the A's have a better number at .279. And their OPS overall against left-handed pitching is .866, and that's the best in baseball. And down goes Bellinger for the first out. Well, tonight on Yes, host Gracie Cashman sits down with number 21, Paul O'Neill, for an inside look at the numbers that defined his career. Watch a new episode of The Story of My Number presented by the New York Lottery tonight after the postgame on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. Anthony Volpe's driven in the only run with a sac fly to center field in the first inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. 33 ribbies, for Volpe. Quickly down in the count 0-2.
Yeah, Volpe out of the 9 runs scored in this series. He's had 5 RBIs.
Yankees scored 5 in the first game, 3 last night, and 1 tonight. 2-2. Fly ball, left field. That's going to dunk in for a base hit. Volpe rounds first. He's going to go to second. Ward will just flip the ball into Neto. It's a 1-out double for Volpe. That'll bring up Jason Dominguez, and time for the Appleman don't take slow for an answer replay.
Well, this is the base hit. Legs one out. Moncada tried to throw it over there, and then he got a good jump off the lefty Kikuchi. Stays on the back.
Dominguez takes inside, 1 for 2 with a walk. 50 at bats from the right side, hitting 160. He did get a hit against the lefty in the first.
He's getting a hefty lead out there in second. They have Rengifo, the second baseman. He's playing close to the bag. Detmers is not paying too much attention. You have the right-handed hitter Dominguez. You have Newman, the third baseman, playing a pretty deep third. You see Rengifo right behind the bag, trying to keep Volpe close.
One and two. Well, Brock Burke warming up for the Angels. Angels also made a move before the game. They designated for assignment Tim Anderson. He's a former batting champion.
Right.
His career just fell off a cliff.
Yeah,
hard to understand.
Yeah, he was still a good defensive player. He just all of a sudden lost his bat.
Swing and a miss. Dominguez down on strikes. 97 miles an hour upstairs.
Now you just climb the ladder a little bit on him, about shoulder high. Detmers got a good fastball from the left side.
LeMahieu fouls it off. Catcher's taking a little bit of a beating tonight. LeMahieu 0 for 3. One and one. Volpe leads off second. Fastball up and in. 2-1. Runs have been scarce in this one, just one. Yankees lead 1-0 in the eighth. Two and two.
LeMahieu. You've got to think about going the other way. 96, 97. You shorten up your swing so you can poke on the right field.
Strike three. 97. 3 strikeouts for Detmers. Volpe stranded at second. It's time for the upcoming schedule, brought to you by your local Tri-State Buick dealers. Tonight ends the 3-game set against the Angels. Then Thursday's an off day, 3 games at Dodger Stadium against the world champions. Monday, another off day as the Yankees travel home from their last West Coast swing of the year. And then the Guardians come to town for 3, followed by the Boston Red Sox over the weekend. Ian Hamilton still out there. Yankees holding a 1-0 lead on the Hyundai scoreboard. Tim Hill and Yerry De Los Santos warming up for the Yankees. The 1-0. That one just missed. 2-0.
Well, you'd think that, or they would hope that Hamilton could get through these next 3, and then Tim Hill will probably have Shanuel, the lefty.
So 3-0 on Taylor. And a strike. Angels not a great offensive club, but they do hit the ball out. You have to guard against that. Yankees with 88 home runs coming in, leads the majors. Dodgers next at 87, and the Angels are third with 79. 50% of their runs score via the home run. Looped into right field. It is a base hit over the head of LeMahieu and in front of Bellinger. So Taylor with a leadoff single here in the 8th.
Well, it's a jam shot there. You see Escara sitting up on the inside half, and it just gets off the handle. And just bloops it over LeMahieu's head. And Taylor can run well over at first. I would imagine this is a sacrifice situation for the Angels. Your 9-hole hitter, and then you have the top of the lineup coming up.
Here is Rengifo. The wheels are turning. Shows bunt, takes outside.
You'd like to see Bibas over there crash a little harder. Even though Taylor runs well, if you get a hard bunt, you might be able to get that lead runner at second.
Now, when you're on the mound and a guy's bunting, isn't there a feeling just let
Well,
him
they're
bunt?
giving you an out, so
Right,
you want to try to throw a strike. You want to try to elevate it a little bit, but you want to try to get it over the middle of the plate because they are giving you an out.
Right back to Hamilton. He barehands it, fires to first. Sacrifice successful, 1-3 as the tying run moves to second base. Chris Taylor.
Well, this ball was bunted hard enough that I think Hamilton was thinking too. Watch. He looks. He might have gotten Taylor at second, but you don't want to risk a bad throw. Get it out.
Runner at second. Here is Zach Neto. And a strike. One and one. Neto 1 for 3. Yankees 1 for 8 Runners in scoring position tonight. 9 left on base. Angels not many opportunities. 0 for 4. 4 left on base. Neto, a .304 hitter with runners in scoring position this year. 2 home runs and 13 runs batted in.
Well, that's a good pitch right there inside. You know, Neto's probably looking slider away. Expand the zone. If you're going to throw that, you could go right back in with that fastball.
The 2-2. Swing and a foul ball. Again, a scar down. This time it got him on the left knee. Spreading the wealth.
Life of a catcher.
Oh. Man, he's going to have some bruises tonight.
He's going to have ice on both knees. Maybe in the cold tank.
Neto quickly calls time. And then Ben May is saying you got to establish contact. He's saying that to Hamilton.
Yeah, he gets one warning the next time it's a ball.
High pop-up. Grisham puts it away for out number 2. And here comes Boone with the lefty Shonowell duo. Hill has been warming. So Hamilton gives them 5 big outs. Out of the 9 that they need. They need 1 more this inning. They go to Hill. Now it's time to name that Yankee. Those are the clues. Those are the teams for which he pitched. And it is the Candyman, John Candelaria, a tough left-hander.
Good or longer hair when he was with the Pirates.
He had that slingshot sort of delivery. Nasty stuff, Jeff. And his best seasons are obviously with the Pirates. Went to LaSalle Academy in Manhattan. 16-10 with the Yankees. There's a ground ball by Shonowell. And LeMahieu turns it into an out to end the inning. So Hill comes on and does the job. No runs a hit. 1 man left. We're going to the 9th. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. By Nissan. And Nissan, we make cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. And by Mohegan Sun. Something's always happening at Mohegan Sun. Those last 2 might be headed to the Hall of Fame. 5 MVPs between them, and Judge bidding for his 3rd this year. Brock Burke, the new pitcher for the Angels as we start the 9th inning. J.C. Escara will start it off. Mark Leiter Jr. warming for the Yankees in their pen. Burke has held lefties to a 174 batting average this year. But righties? Well, righties have a 327 average against him. He's got to face 3 batters, so Escara, Bibas, and then the lefty slayer, Paul Goldschmidt. Swing and a miss. Escara down on strikes. The last 6 Yankee outs have come via the strikeout.
Well, he's got a good slider. Fastball slider change for Burke. Fastball 95 to 97.
12 Yankees have struck out. Bibas takes a strike. Took over at third after Ben Rice pinch hit for Peraza. That was in the 7th. Oh, 0-2. The 28-year-old lefty deals. 1-2. Still 1-2. With the Rangers last year, but he has really found something in Anaheim. Right back to Burke. He was on the third base side of the rubber, extreme third base side of the rubber, and the Angels moved him about 8 inches toward the middle. And Burke said, I threw one bullpen and instantly felt better.
Well, by throwing from the third base, most everything probably against a lefty was away.
Now here's Ron Washington, and he might talk with Burke. Do you want to face Goldschmidt, or should I walk him and then you could face Grisham?
With the games going faster, you still like the 3-batter minimum? Like, here's a perfect example. It's a 1-0 game, and I'm sure Ron Washington would rather make that change.
I do like it because I think there's an air of strategy about this, too. You got to pick the right lane to bring in the guy because you know he's got to face 3 guys. You don't like it?
No, I don't like it because just, you know, it works out for the Yankees because you have Goldschmidt facing a lefty. But if it was the other way around, Boone could go out and get that righty in a close ball game.
But then you have managers that would be bringing in 3 pitchers to face 3 batters.
It's about winning.
0-1 on Goldschmidt. Upstairs. Hector Neris is warming up. That's in case it gets the judge. Line drive, another base hit against the lefty for Goldschmidt.
That was an off-speed pitch slider upstairs. There you see, stays back real quiet with that front leg. That heel comes up right back down.
So here's Grisham. 1 run in the game, and that happened in the top of the first inning for the Yanks on a sac fly by Volpe. Strike to Grisham. Yankees have one righty on the bench. That's Pablo Reyes. Just clipped the outside corner at 98 miles an hour. 0-2. So they'll go to Leiter to try to close this out. They'll face 3, 4, 5 in the Angels order.
Well, for an Angel bullpen that was last in baseball in ERA, they're throwing out some pretty good arms.
Still 2-2 with Judge on deck. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. That'll do it for the Yankees in the ninth. No runs a hit. One man left. Last licks coming up for the Angels. They'll do it against Mark Leiter Jr. Well, this weekend, it's a World Series rematch in L.A., and the big games deserve the best post games. Turn to Yes after the final outs for highlights, analysis, and clubhouse reaction. Watch the WB Mason Yankees post game starting Friday on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. Comes down to Mark Leiter Jr. We mentioned that in all likelihood, no Weaver, no Williams, no Loaizaga. That would be their third time in 4 days. They try to stay away from that. Leiter has 1 save this season, 8 saves in his career. He's pitched well. And he's going to face Joe Adell to start it off pinch hitting for Newman. Moncada was in this spot, left the game with a right knee soreness.
Well, fastball curveball split from Leiter. Pinch hitter in Joey Adell looking dead red at first pitch.
Lined right at Bibas. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Well, you'll take it. Pinch hitters, they don't wait around too long. There's a first pitch fastball right at Bibas.
2 outs to go. Here is Taylor Ward. And a strike. Now the fastball. Schmidt went 6. Hamilton got 5 outs. Tim Hill the final out of the 8th. Now Mark Leiter Jr. Goes with the curveball. Drops over the outside corner. 0-2.
That was a knee buckler. That was a good pitch from Leiter Jr.
Strike 3. Got him looking at a splitter. 1 out to go. And after that final out, get highlights, analysis, and clubhouse reaction on the WB Mason Yankees postgame. Then remember to stay tuned for the Story of My Number premiere with Paul O'Neill. Here is Jorge Soler. 7 home runs, 23 ribbies on the year. Curveball with no bite, 1-0.
That's a good pitch because Soler's an early count fastball hitter. He's looking for that fastball the first pitch as well.
2 for 3 tonight. Yankees have 7 hits. The Angels have 5. 1 out to go to sweep the series for the Yanks. Leiter deals. Good frame job by Escar to get that strike 1-1.
It was. He pulled it back. It was on the outside corner and off the plate. You watch how far outside this is, and he pulls this thing right back into the strike zone.
And the 1-1. One strike to go. 1-2. Leiter, tough as nails, no scare in him. He's trying to close this out. And the pitch. 2-2. Splitter misses. Two balls, two strikes, two outs, bottom of the ninth, 1-0 Yanks. 3-2 in the dangerous. Logan O'Hoppe is on deck. He has 14 home runs. Many in the crowd standing. Leiter deals. Just missed with the breaking ball. Ball 4. Just missed the outside corner. The Angels still alive.
Well, Leiter got the call earlier. This is more down than that one pitch he got on the outside corner. He tried to bring it back up.
Matthew Lugo is going to pinch run for Soler. So Lugo is the tying run. O'Hoppe is the winning run. Grounded foul.
No, Lugo can run over at first. You can't lose concentration on the hitter. You go get him.
And the pitch to O'Hoppe. Swing and a miss. Curveball 0-2. Once again, the Angels down to their final strike.
He just didn't see that well, and this is a good curveball away. If I'm a Scar here, I'm maybe going a little bit further on the outside half and staying with that pitch.
One with the splitter. 1-2. Runner at first base. He has the lead, held by Goldschmidt. 2-2. On deck is Travis d'Arnaud.
A little surprised that they haven't gone back to that curveball. He had a really poor swing on it, and he went back with two splitters.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Strike 3. Curveball clips the outside corner. O'Hoppe down looking. Yankees win 1-0, and they sweep the Angels in Anaheim.
Well, an excellent start to the road trip for the Yankees. 5-1 going into Friday against the Dodgers. Hey, another great frame job by Escar. He brought that curveball back to get that third strike. 1 run in the first inning. That's all the Yankees needed. Clark Schmidt, outstanding job going 6 shutout. And the bullpen held him down.
And it was a compromised bullpen that was exhausted. Their 3 top-flight relievers in terms of leverage not available tonight, and they got it done.
Yeah, Leiter Jr., big pitch by Tim Hill, and Hamilton an inning of 2/3 of shutout baseball. So big-time job by the Yankee bullpen.
And that's the guy who drove in the only run with a sac fly. Anthony Volpe did it all the way back in the first inning. 1-7-0 for the Yankees, 0-5-0 for the Angels. They've won 5 of the first 6 games on the longest road trip of the year. Next up, the Dodgers, but we have awards in the postgame after this. Yankees win 1-0 to sweep the Angels. We take a look at the Range Rover Sport Dynamic Performer.
Well, 42 pitches through the first couple innings, and then Clark Schmidt really settled down and pitched an outstanding ball game, giving you 6 shutouts. He walked 1, only giving up 4 hits, and then 4 punch-outs in 99 pitches.
So we go from that to the Cadillac drive of the game, Jeff.
Well, after a leadoff double by Goldschmidt, bases were loaded, and this is Anthony Volpe with the sac fly in the first inning. The only run, 5 RBIs out of the 9 runs the Yankees scored in this series from Volpe.
1-7-0 for the Yankees. They're 15 games over 500. 0-5-0 for the Angels. Time of the game, 2:51. Schmidt the win. Mark Leiter his second save, and we'll hear from him with Meredith on the field in the postgame. Schmidt went 6. Kikuchi went 5. Fourth Yankees series sweep this season. They're 5-1 on this road trip. Coming up on the Yes Network, stay tuned for the W.B. Mason postgame show with Ryan Rucco and Jack Curry. Special thanks to producer Troy Benjamin, director Dan Barr, Mike Webb, and the executive producer of the Yes Network is Jared Ames Bosnack. Join us again on Tuesday when the Yankees return to the Bronx for a 3-game set against the Guardians. Coverage begins at 6 on Yes, with first pitch coming shortly after 7. Again, the final score, the New York Yankees 1, the LA Angels 0. For Jeff Nelson and Meredith Morakovitz, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Now let's go to Ryan Rucco and Jack Curry, who are standing by in our Yes Network studios with the post-game show.
Welcome to the W.B. Mason post-game. Ryan Rucco alongside Jack Curry. Yankees win it 1-0 over the Angels, completing the sweep in Anaheim. Another terrific performance from the Yankees pitching staff. And Jack, Yankees get to stay in L.A. and enjoy an off day after a sweep as we get to your Hyundai opening comment.
Yeah, and baseball can be a humbling sport. It can also be an exhilarating sport. I think after Clark Schmidt's last start, he felt humbled. It was a loss to the Colorado Rockies. He wasn't happy about the way he performed. What do, Ryan? You go out there tonight against the Angels and you change that narrative. You pitch the way that he did. 6 scoreless innings, the sweeper, the cutter, the curveball. All 3 of those pitches were elite. And after 4 of the first 6 base runners, batters, reached base for the Angels, he retired 15 of the last 16. He just shut down the Angels. The Yankees scored 1 run on Volpe's sacrifice fly in the first. That held up, Brian, because on a night where Aaron Boone didn't have his high-leverage relievers, he pieced it together to get those final 9 outs, Leiter getting the save in the 9th.
No surprise, the optimum player of the game is indeed Clark Schmidt. And, you know, bottom of the first, you talked about it, Jack. Man on second, 2 outs. Schmidt in a little bit of trouble, but using a very nice sweeper to get out of this.
Yeah, he gets the swing and miss from Ward. Bottom of the second, Darno is up with a couple of runners on. He strikes him out with a cutter. And the next batter is Taylor, and another good sweeper, Ryan.
And then the final batter of the inning, Rengifo, gets to roll this one to first. So after first and second, nobody out, 3 straight outs, and Clark Schmidt keeps the Angels off the board.
Yeah, bottom of the third, how about the spin on that sweeper to get Neto? Bottom of the 6th, 2 outs, nobody on for Ward. He pops out to first on a Schmidt cutter. That was Schmidt's final batter of the night. 99 pitches, 6 gaudy innings. He only allowed 4 hits, struck out 4. And very, very importantly, Ryan, he only walked 1 batter. When the Angels did have runners on base, 0 for 7 with runners on base against Schmidt.
Cooking up something special with Hexclad. Yankees starters over the last 20 games. A 2.25 ERA. They also have held opponents to a 200 batting average and a meek 303 slugging over that span. I mean, we talk about this every year at some point, Jack, right? How it can feel contagious when a rotation gets on a roll. Obviously, it started with Fried. He's been dominant all year. We've seen Rodon now do it for a month and a half. And other guys starting to catch on. Schmidt continuing it today after you talked about it. He really wanted to bounce back. He certainly did in a big way.
Yeah, Schmidt has terrific stuff. We talk about it all the time. The spin that he gets on his sweeper and his curve. He didn't have the best curve or the best sinker in the thin air in Denver. It's not an excuse. Those were the conditions. Pitchers will tell you you have to figure out a way to pitch in those conditions. I said on the pregame I expected a big bounce back from him tonight. I thought the conditions in Anaheim would be terrific. I thought he was going to pitch a little angry, which David Cohn will tell you sometimes that's good as a pitcher. Go out there with an edge. Go out there wanting to prove yourself. The Yankee pitchers have been excellent in that 16-4 run. And Ryan, that 16-4 run, that is the best in Major League Baseball this season. No team has had a better 20-game run than 16-4.
And tonight it wasn't just the starter, Clark Schmidt. It was also the way Aaron Boone pieced together the bullpen, as Jack talked about. Time for pitching decisions presented by Sage. You got the feeling, although Aaron Boone didn't overtly say it, at least not on the record to anybody before the game, that there was going to be no Devin Williams and that there was going to be no Luke Weaver. But you can hear Michael and Nelly saying they thought it'd be unlikely, and you know what? Aaron Boone did a nice job wiggling his way through, starting with Ian Hamilton.
Yeah, Ian Hamilton comes on in the 7th, uses that Slambio to get Soler, and then O'Hoppe, bottom of the 8th. He's still in there with a runner on second. Neto lifts this lazy fly ball to left center. Trent Grisham is there, so you need 9 outs. Hamilton got 5. Here comes Tim Hill, Ryan.
Facing the lefty, Jean-Noel, and first pitch swinging, grounds it to the right side. That ends the inning. Then the bottom of the 9th. Who's going to close? It's going to be Mark Leiter Jr. with his second chance at a save this season.
Yeah, it's going to be Odell. He hits a sharp liner to left. That's snared by Bebas for out number 1. Taylor Ward stares at that splitter for the second out of the inning. And with a runner on base, it's the curveball that is going to put the final batter away. That was O'Hoppe. And Ryan, the save goes besides Leiter Jr.'s name. Give Ascara an assist. I think he stole 3 or 4 pitches that inning with elite framing,
including that final one to end the game. And after it went final on the field, Meredith Marakovitz caught up with Mark Leiter Jr.
Mark, with a couple of guys down in the back end of the bullpen, Aaron Boone went to you in the 9th inning. What is the adrenaline like when you go out there knowing you have to get the final 3 outs and close things out?
Well, I mean, you got to just stay in the moment, stay with the same thing that got you in that spot. And, you know, with a couple guys down, you know it's your turn, and go and get the job done.
You get Adele to line out, Ward on the splitter, Soler walks. How are you able to dial it back in to get O'Hoppe the home run threat that he is?
Yeah, I mean, Soler had some good takes for it. It was a good at-bat by him, and just getting ahead right there and giving ourselves a chance to have a couple of shots to put him away.
Can you describe the emotion when you get him second save of the year, 9th of your career?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can win a game, especially when it's a 1-0 game, it's tight. Everybody pitched well. One more guy's got to do their job, so that's where we're at.
What do you make of what this team is doing right now? 7th consecutive series win. It just seems like you guys are rolling.
Yeah, we got a great team, and we're going to continue to keep working and keep getting better and keep progressing to our goals.
Hey, off day tomorrow, then a World Series rematch with the Dodgers. How much are you guys looking forward to playing the Dodgers?
Yeah, I mean, we love playing the best teams and getting a chance to go up against these guys. It'll be a lot of fun.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Send it back to you.
Jack, Aaron Boone has to feel just delighted with the way he was able to piece that bullpen together. Win always satisfying. I have to imagine as a manager there's an extra level of satisfaction when you're in a 1-run game and you don't have your top 2 relievers and you find a way to navigate to the finish line.
Yeah, he had some interesting repartee with Meredith Marakovitz and some of the reporters before the game because there were obvious questions to be asked about the bullpen and availability. But one thing he did say, and Meredith said, if you don't have a Weaver and a Williams, who are you confident in giving the ball to late in the game? And Boone said, I'm confident in a lot of guys out there. Now, a manager has to say that and should say that, but Boone did feel that way. Hamilton has had some hiccups this year, but he looked strong. Hill, his recent run hasn't been as good as it was last year, but he got the big out. And then Leiter Jr., when he was acquired by the Yankees last year from the Cubs, I reached out to Uncle Al for a scouting report. And the one thing Al said was he will not wilt. In tough situations, he said he is going to face them head on. Ryan, that was a tough situation right there. And Leiter had confidence in 2 pitches, his curveball and his splitter, that got him through.
And we saw that in the playoffs last year with Leiter, right? After he had a rocky regular season after being acquired, he was nails in October for the Yanks. All right, time for a break here on the WB Mason postgame. Still plenty more to come. We will hear from the Yankees skipper, go inside the clubhouse as well after a 1-0 Yankees win and a sweep of the Angels.
Show on Yes is presented by WB Mason. Get fast free delivery of food service products you need at prices you'll love. Request your free catalog today at WBMason.com. The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires.
After we're done here, do not miss the newest episode of The Story of My Number as Gracie Cashman sits down with number 21, Paul O'Neill, for an inside look at the numbers that defined his career. It's presented by the New York Lottery, and it's after the postgame wraps right here on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. All right, time for the highlights presented by your local Ford stores. Top of the first inning after a leadoff double by Paul Goldschmidt, a strikeout by Grisham. The Angels intentionally walk Aaron Judge, and 2 batters later, bases loaded for Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, and he's going to lift this slider in the air to center field. Taylor ranges over to make the catch, but that's a sacrifice fly. That's a productive out. Yankees lead 1-0.
Later in the inning, bases loaded. Again, DJ LeMahieu up. He gives this little bit of a ride out to right center, but plenty of room for Taylor, who puts it away for the final out of the inning. Hey, look, a familiar scene, Jack, at the top of the second.
Judge gets intentionally walked again to load the bases. First Yankee with 2 intentional walks through the first 2 innings since Gene Woodling in 1953. Bellinger does not make the Angels pay. He lifts that fly ball to left field. The Yankees strand 3.
Bottom of the second. First and second, nobody out, becomes first and second, 2 outs, and Schmidt induces this grounder to the right side, able to escape the jam, and then he would cruise, Jack.
Yeah, he's going to get Taylor Ward to pop out this cutter to Goldschmidt. Final out of the inning. Terrific line by Schmidt. 6 scoreless, 4 hits, struck out 4, walked 1.
Top of the 9th inning after a 2-out single by Paul Goldschmidt. Brock Burke able to strike out Trent Grisham on the 2-2 slider. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Mark Leiter Jr. in for the save, and after 2 quick outs, a walk to Jorge Soler, and then this frame job, Jack.
You look at what Ascara was able to do behind the plate that inning, and you can see, Ryan, why he is 7th in baseball in framing, even though he's a backup catcher.
Yeah, I mean, that is an incredible stat when you consider he is a backup. The Yankees' 4th series sweep of the season. Time to hear from Aaron Boone. The manager's report is brought to you by Toyota.
Aaron, you alluded to the fact that you were light at the back end of the bullpen before the game. When did you know you were going to go to Mark Leiter Jr. in that situation?
Probably before the game. Any save situation, I was gonna use Mark tonight. But I actually wanted to get him a little bit of rest too. So it was gonna be save only. Obviously Clark put us in a really good position there, giving us 6 really stellar innings, and then it was really encouraging to see Hammy come in and get 5 big outs for us. So that was huge. And then obviously Timmy Hill coming in and getting a lefty on the ground with 1 pitch. Great job by the whole pitching staff and the defense tonight, and making 1 run stand up.
What is it about Leiter Jr.'s stuff, his demeanor on the mound, that led you to believe he could handle that spot?
Oh, he's super competitive. He the bigger the spot, I think the more he thrives. Again, whether you get a result or not, like he's fearless out there, and stuff's been good all year. With the better velocity with the sinker, he's using the curveball really effectively, and then obviously the splitter. So just a really good job there by him after Adele smokes that first pitch of the inning off him. We get a big out there, and then he goes to work.
The called 3rd strike on O'Hoppe. JC a little bit beat up throughout the course of the night. What did you think of the job he did framing that pitch?
I thought JC had a great night back there. Like you said, he took some good shots there tonight. But more of what we've seen really all year from him behind the plate. Great job working with the pitchers, calling the game. The skill of receiving, he did a real nice job for us.
No. Is this more of what you expected from Mark Leiter when you guys had him last year?
Yeah, I think it's just. Look, I mean, he ended up being really good for us in the biggest of moments, last year. It was a little bit up and down in those final couple months, but he had some good moments in there, and then finished really strong in the postseason for us when he got on the roster. So, But, right away, I think we noticed this year that the stuff was crisper, more life to the fastball or to the sinker. He's up probably 2-3 miles an hour with that pitch, and which is allowing his breaking ball and his splitter to play even a little bit better.
There are people concerned about the rotation going into the season because of the injuries, but 16 games in a row now with 3 or fewer runs, maybe 9 runs or 8 runs in the last 9 games. It's really 5 deep right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, credit to those guys. They're getting it done. Those guys are giving us a great opportunity every time they go out now for a month. It was a little rough for us the first few weeks as we were kind of, trying to get settled a little bit, but those guys have really fueled this kind of run we've been able to go on to really, go out and win a number of series. It starts with the starting pitching.
Aaron, you mentioned the run you're on right now. You get the series sweep, 7th consecutive series win. I believe you guys have won 16 out of 20. It seems even louder in there than it normally does. How would you describe just the mood, what's going on in that room right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you get a sweep, it's not easy to do in this league. So there's that excitement, knowing we're going into an off day and we're not going far. It's like you kind of look to those off days, and you get a sweep into an off day, and you do it on a night when you're staying away from a few guys. So some other guys really step up in some big roles. Pretty cool, and makes for a good day tomorrow.
You don't see a lot of 1-0 games these days. What's it like to win it and to manage it and to be part of it?
Yeah, it's fun. I think we had one a week or two ago, but yeah, they are rare. It's a lot of fun being here in Southern California for me. A little bit of a homecoming, and I always love Angel Stadium and my seat in the dugout there, and and then your competitive juices get going anytime you're in a close ball game, and through this stretch, I feel like we've found ourselves in quite a bit of close games, and fortunately we've been starting to win some of those.
Aaron, Clark's pitch count seemed like it was really elevating throughout those first 2 innings. Just how was he kind of able to rein it in a little bit there and give you 6?
Yeah, I thought he was sharp overall. They added some deeper counts. They were fouling a lot of pitches off, so running the count up a little bit. A couple times he did get in a little bit of a pickle. He really made a lot of really good pitches. So I thought the sweeper was really good tonight, mixed in the sinker with his cutter, and I thought he was sharp tonight, much sharper than his last time out.
2 early intentional walks to judge.
Yeah, the first one caught me a little off guard. The second one, probably kind of expecting a little bit, was second and third, and just the lefty today. So, look, that's going to happen periodically. It just depends on the situation, the team. So maybe the first one caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, it caught us a little off guard as well, but, Ron Washington and all opposing managers are certainly going to want to put Aaron Judge on base when it's an option. But, Jack, one of the things that Aaron Boone talked about at the beginning of his interview was Mark Leiter Jr., who was terrific in that 9th inning, and we talked about it a little before, but really has become a reliable piece in the back end of that bullpen.
Yeah, you look at the numbers that he has accumulated on the season, Ryan. Ground ball percentage is over 50%. His strikeout percentage is higher than 33%. His velocity is up on the fastball, and that helps the 2 pitches that we saw him feature in that 9th inning, the splitter and the curveball. I spoke to him about his stuff at the stadium last week, and like any pitcher or any perfectionist, he said there's still room for growth. There's still things that he's trying to do with all of his pitches, but the Yankees are very happy that they had another option to go to. We talked about Williams and Weaver not being available. Didn't seem as if Boone was going to go to Loaizaga either, so they really weren't going to touch their top 3 relievers or the guy they've used most often, and instead it was 3 other pitchers who got them those 9 outs.
All right, time for another break here on the WB Mason postgame. We still get to hear from Clark Schmidt, the Yankees starter, after a sweep was completed in Anaheim by the Bombers.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
Well, Thursday night, head down on the farm for minor league baseball action on Yes. First at 6 o'clock, get a behind-the-scenes look at the AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre squad on the latest episode of Homegrown, The Path to Pinstripes. And then watch the Rail Riders take on the Worcester Red Sox at 6:30 on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. Jack, in a 1-0 game, there's going to be little things that matter, little things you focus on, and J.C. Escarra had a very interesting night, including getting beat up a few times throughout the night. At bottom of the first, takes this foul ball off his right knee, misses the padding, and then that was a theme that continued throughout the game for him.
7th inning, he gets hit in almost the same spot, a little higher above the right knee there. He goes down, and it is a very difficult position. He gets hit in the spot where the guard is not covering it, Ryan. And if that wasn't bad enough, how about the left knee? 8th inning with Zach Neto. That sinker from Hamilton coming inside. Neto right off the left knee this time.
But you know what? JC, a fan favorite, a great story. He kept his focus. And in the bottom of the ninth, he delivered some unbelievable frame jobs.
Yeah, that pitch is up. It's a sinker from Leiter. Ward is at the plate. He gets the call on it. Soler at the plate. And how about the way he pulled that curveball over? We're going to show a replay. It's got to be subtle. It's got to be a slight movement of the wrist and or the glove. And Escarra excels at it. He gets O'Hoppe right there to end the game. One more look at it, Ryan. We mentioned it earlier. He's a backup catcher, so he doesn't have the innings that starters do. And he's 7th in Major League Baseball in framing runs, pitch framing. It's a skill. It's an art. He excels at it.
It really is amazing when you consider that stat. And I'm sure Logan was not happy with that call either. I had to do it for you, Jack. It's late. We need to mix in a little of that. So J.C. Escarra, the contributions, they may not have seemed loud, but they were significant in a 1-0 win. Let's take a listen in to J.C. with Meredith after the game.
JC, just what do you think of the job Mark Leiter Jr. did tonight, coming in a scenario where he's not generally used, closing things out?
Amazing job. That's what's so special about our bullpen. I think, there's multiple guys that you could throw out there in any given situation and get outs, get punch outs and save the game, just like Mark did today. So really proud of him being put in that big spot and coming through.
It seemed like O'Hoppe did not love that third called strike. Just what were you seeing from your vantage point there?
Oh, it's definitely a ball. It was way out there. But, that's why, me, Tanner, Wellesley, Rice, that's what we work on every day to help our pitchers and steal those strikes.
How much pride do you take in that, maybe stealing one there to end the game?
Really good. That one was special because it was to win a game, to get the save, close ball game 1-0. So that was a big one.
Overall, what did you think of Clark tonight?
Amazing. Wow, what a job. I think it was the best outing of the year so far. Just getting in the zone, that cutter, that combo with the cutter, curveball, it's deadly. So really proud of him.
Pretty good tonight. How are you feeling?
I got really beat up today. Yeah. Felt like those balls when it hits you in the thigh, it's like a Charlie horse. My leg goes numb. But after a few minutes, it goes away and, we're back in action.
What's it like pitching a 1-0 game where every pitch really does matter?
Yeah, every pitch matters. That's why a lot of emphasis in stealing strikes, doing the little things, the details as a catcher, reading swings, working well with the pitcher. It all matters at the end.
Your sweeper team, that was playing pretty well coming into this series. Thoughts about how things went for you here?
Yeah, really good. I think we just played Yankee baseball on both sides. Good pitching, timely hitting, and we were able to come out with 3 wins here.
Take on the starting pitching the last few weeks here.
Everybody knows they're doing an incredible job. I mean, one guy after another, great outings. They're doing an amazing job, and I'm honored that I get to be a part of it and work with them.
Well, we heard JC talk about the framing. What did his pitcher, Mark Leiter Jr., think about it? Let's take a listen.
Did you like the job JC did framing that last pitch?
Yeah, it was not strike. We don't have that same box you guys see on TV and out on the field. We just see it straight up. So he called it strike. I thought it was in the box, no?
The one we saw was not.
Oh, all right. Well, glad it went our way then.
They don't see the box. It wasn't anywhere near the box, but obviously J.C. Escarra, sometimes, there's borderline pitches that a catcher steals. He stole 3 pitches that, I mean, were well off the plate, and that's why he's, so high up in those rankings on a cumulative stat where he doesn't play a lot.
He had to convince one person that those pitches were strikes, and that's plate umpire Ben May, who was perched right behind him. And John Flaherty would be able to speak to this better than I, Ryan, but talking to catchers and catching instructors about this, it's about the subtle movement of the wrist. If you're taking a pitch that's 8 inches outside and you're trying to drag it in, you're embarrassing yourself, and the umpire knows, okay, this person doesn't know what they're doing. They're trying to dupe me. But what you saw Ascara do, when it's close enough that you're subtly moving the wrist and or the glove, it's about presenting the pitch that is not a strike as a strike, and Ascara has that art down to a science.
And he displayed that art for the first 6 innings with Clark Schmidt. We will get to hear from the Yankees starter when we come back. What a bounce-back performance from Schmidt after he was quite hard on himself in Colorado. 6 shutout innings this evening en route to a 1-0 Yankees win.
The Yankees post-game show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com. The Yankees post-game show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
Oswaldo, I don't want to create any distress for you, but can you describe what happened on the play? Fly ball to right field.
Fly ball to right field. Yeah. So obviously in my mind, I want to score. I want to score for my cat. That's our RBI for my cat. And I got my head down. And when I see the catcher close to me, I wasn't close to the home plate. So I can't slide from there, because if I slide, I'm not going to get to the home plate. So I tried to skip the catcher. And I don't know, obviously that happened quick, but I tried to stop. And I think if I maybe keep sliding and then come back, that was a better idea. But I tried to stop because we are athletes, and I think we can do it. I can do that play all the time, and that doesn't going to happen. Sadly, that happened in that moment, but I think it was because I tried to skip the catcher and then stop and come back to touch the plate.
You were still cognizant and still aware enough, despite all the pain, that you still wanted to make sure that you scored that run. What does that say about you as an athlete, as a competitor?
I appreciate that you bring that back too. Obviously, I got, like I always say, I had in that moment too many things in my mind. But I didn't remember if I scored or not. Everything happened quickly, and the cat was there all the time with me too. And I asked him, did I score? Because I want this happen for a reason, this wrong score at least for you. And he was like, yeah, it's score.
All right, Jack. Well, this is the first interview that Oswaldo has done since that gruesome injury. Podcast drops today, now that we have crossed midnight and then some. What's something or what's the things top of your mind that fans can look forward to in this conversation?
Well, you heard him talk about the play. He is now talking about his rehab, and doctors are telling him 4 to 6 months recovery time. He started that rehab yesterday at Yankee Stadium. But what I think people will get out of that podcast the most, Ryan, is just how joyous Cabrera is. Even in his darkest moments, even in times that he said wanted him to think negatively, he's still a very enthusiastic guy, wants to come back and help the Yankees. It's tough to be a spectator and not a player, but Oswaldo Cabrera promises he will be back with the Yankees, and he believes he'll be better than ever.
Yeah, and sending all of our best wishes for a speedy recovery to Oswaldo, and looking forward to hearing that conversation in full, Jack. Meanwhile, turning attention back to what happened tonight in Anaheim, a 1-0 Yankees win, their third 1-0 win of the season. Let's take a look at the Montefiore turning point of the game, and it comes in the second. Clark Schmidt on the mound and facing a little trouble in this second inning in a 1-0 game.
Yes, Soler takes the cutter to right field, And the next batter is going to be Hoppy. And this pitch is going to get away from Mascara. So Soler moves up on the wild pitch into scoring position. Same at bat, Ryan. 5-pitch walk to Hoppy, so the Angels have a couple of runners on.
Yeah, 2 on, nobody out. Little conversation at the mound, and Schmidt gets to work. 0-2 pitch to d'Arnaud, gets him chasing, 1 down. Then Chris Taylor can't catch up with a sweeper. And then finally, Schmidt going to get out of it with Rengifo.
Yeah, you're going to see Schmidt get Rengifo on a 3-2 pitch, ground this one to first base. That was one of the longer at-bats that Schmidt had, an 8-pitch battle that he won. That ended the inning, and that helped him move forward after that. The Angels only had 1 hit for the rest of the game.
And you see the pitch mix for Clark tonight. 41 cutters, 27 sweepers, 21 knuckle curves. Let's hear from Clark Schmidt with Meredith and the media.
Clark, what was the biggest difference out there, or biggest adjustment you made from your last start?
We were at sea level, I would say.
Aside from elevation.
I would say just, the stuff was obviously really sharp and more consistent, and shapes were more consistent, and I thought the strike rate was really high, and being able to be on the attack and controlling most of my counts, and just getting to areas that, I was trying to get to most of the night was the big difference.
It seemed like early on they were kind of driving your pitch count up a little bit, really making you work. How were you able to become more economical as that game went on?
I think just being present and just kind of being within myself and knowing, typically in times past when it gets driven up early in games, I kind of let it would rattle on and be like, okay, I only have a few more left in me, or trying to get myself out of the mentality of just kind of staying where my feet are and just, you go pitch to pitch, out to out, and try to go as deep as I possibly can. And, when I went out there for the 5th, I knew it was a pretty higher pitch count. So for me, I was like, I just want to go out there and try to get as many quick outs as I can. And then obviously that carried over to the 6th.
How validating is it to go 6 strong, no runs allowed, and you guys win a 1-0 ball game?
Yeah, I mean, watching the game in here with Tim and Hamilton, we were, 1-0 games are, it almost feels like, I guess that's what a sports fan feels like when you're watching the games. Like, it's like you're on the edge of their seat, and we were in here cheering every pitch on, every strike on, and, it's a lot of fun. I think obviously we're playing really good baseball right now, and, the energy in the clubhouse, energy in the locker room is great, and, we're playing really good baseball, and it's definitely showing in here.
What allowed you guys to hold them to 3 runs the whole series?
I mean, we have a talented pitching staff. I think, obviously we do a lot on preparing and paying attention to what teams are doing and the best way to get guys out. But beyond that, I think we have guys with great stuff and guys who go at guys and throw strikes and execute. And, it's a credit to this pitching staff. I think, it seems like every year we talk about how good our pitching staff is, but it's just like everybody steps up and does their job.
This year you guys did it after losing Garrett for the season in spring training. You lose Hill, Rookie of the Year, for half a season, and there were concerns. Stroman goes down right away. What about the job you guys have done? Just have a look at what Will does, and right now it's pretty much 5 deep.
Yeah, I think, it's a credit to everyone's mentality, I think, more so than anything else. I think it's next man up, and we know that, you have a short window, a short opportunity to, especially in this sport, to do what you want to do and to accomplish things. And so to be able to go out there and stay focused on your job and be able to go out there and execute, that's the ultimate thing. So for us, obviously we have talented guys. You wouldn't be in this organization if you weren't talented, but just the mentality. I think it's more of a attack mentality. We're not trying to pitch around guys, and obviously we have good stuff, but I think more so than anything else, guys are ready to compete.
Going to Dodger Stadium this weekend, will you think about what went wrong last October, or are you now over that?
I don't think you'll ever get over it, but I think it's definitely behind us. I think, obviously there's nothing that we can do to go back and change anything. So for us, it's just another series. I think obviously there will be some added emotion, and the noise around it will be a little bit louder. But for us, we're just treating it like another series. We know that this is a long year, and for us to get where we want to go, we got to take it day by day.
Those are the Genesis sounds of the game there with Clark Schmidt, who did a really good job limiting the free passes tonight, Jack.
Yeah, one walk in the second inning. We showed it earlier to Hoppy. And then after that, he faced 16 more batters the rest of the game. He didn't walk any of them. I did chuckle when Meredith asked him the adjustment that he made between his last start and this one. He said, I got to pitch at sea level. Well played, Clark. We see you. But he was the first one to say that, hey, the conditions are what they are. You have to figure out a way to pitch in Denver as much as you have to figure out a way to pitch in Anaheim. I'm sure he's thrilled that Denver will not appear on the 2025 schedule again.
I'm sure he is also thrilled that he gets an off day in L.A. after a win as the Yankees get set to face the Dodgers, a World Series rematch. We get to dive into it after another break here on the post game. It's Judge, it's Ohtani. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers in a World Series rematch, and it begins on Friday night.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
Time to take a look at next series pitching probables brought to you by Nissan. The Yankees will trot out Max Fried in the opener, then Will Warren on Saturday, TBD on Sunday against Yamamoto, who's been terrific for the Dodgers. None of these games are on Yes, but our post-game coverage is on Yes following each one of these games. Now, this series also showcases the reigning MVPs, which will be a memorable moment presented by Prevagen, made for your brain. There's two generational talents, both having fantastic seasons yet again. I mean, Judge calling it fantastic is obviously undershooting.
Yeah, you watch their at-bats and you just understand the extreme talents that we are watching, the two of them and what they were able to do. We see every one of Judge's at-bats. I see a lot of Ohtani's at-bats because I want to make sure that I see Ohtani's at-bats. But two players who I think go out there, Ryan, with just an approach that they're going to take control of an at-bat. They're not going to let the pitcher take control of the at-bat. I think that's what makes both of them so special. We saw Judge at the beginning of his career. He expanded the zone more. He chased more. He doesn't do that anymore. And if either one of these guys gets a pitch where they can do some damage, they will do damage.
Maybe a little extra juice, too. I mean, obviously, they met in the World Series, and there's been incredible hype around these series over the last few years regardless. But they meet in the World Series. And then the aftermath of it, too, there was some chirping from the Dodgers pointing out Yankee flaws. Then Aaron Boone was willing to defend his team in the aftermath of it and kind of point out the lack of class, using my words, not his. Maybe a little extra juice going into the series?
I think that always becomes a sidebar. That always becomes part of it because it happened. It's out there. It's Joe Kelly and Kike Hernandez, so it wasn't the Dodge, it wasn't the Freddie Freeman, it wasn't Mookie Betts. And I think that was one of the things Aaron Boone said. Still, it was said. And when you lose, and you lose in the way that the Yankees lost, that stings. I made the mistake of saying to Boone recently, paraphrasing something he said after the Yankees lost, I said, you said that's going to sting for a while. He said, no, I said it's going to sting forever. So, Ryan, they're not going to erase that with this weekend series. You've got to get back to October to maybe get your ultimate revenge, but you absolutely want to make sure that you go into L.A. and have a terrific showing, and maybe these two teams do see each other again in October.
That would be fun. All right, time for our final break here on the postgame. We come back. We get our Yes Press. Jack Curry tells you what the headline is going to be when you wake up in the morning later today after a 1-0 Yankee win and a sweep of the Angels.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Back on the WB Mason post-game show, Yankees win at 1-0 over the Angels, complete the sweep, and get to 15 games over 500. All right, Jack, what is your Yes Press?
Third 1-0 win of the year. We have to hone in on the man who was instrumental in making that happen. Clark pitched like Superman as Yankees flew to a 1-0 win over Angels.
All right, very nice. I see what you did there with Clark. Well, Jack, the Yankees obviously trying to keep this going, and they get to ride high into a series that's going to have a lot of attention on it.
They're on a tremendous run. We've mentioned it, 16-4 in their last 20. The pitching has been elite. They've gotten enough offense. They've got a lot of confidence in the way that they're playing right now. And, Ryan, I said this last night, but I'll repeat it. You can't win a division in May or June, but you can make the teams that are chasing you feel as if they're close to losing that division. So just keep adding those wins. Keep trying to push the Rays, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays as far back as possible. The Orioles, they might be done already.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us on the WB Mason post-game show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We know what a late night and early morning it is. The Yankees 1-0 winners over the Angels. Bombers complete the sweep and make it 5 straight wins as they get to the 15 games over 500 mark for the first time this season. For our producer, Mike Medvin, our director, Ryan Rutherford, Jack Curry, Meredith Marakovitz, and our entire outstanding production and technical crews, I'm Ryan Rucco saying so long, everyone.